we're not creative enough, and we're not positive enough.
It's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home.
We'll go on getting bad results, getting bad results, getting bad results, getting bad results.
It's coming, football's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home. Everyone seems to know the score. They've seen it all before. They just know they're so sure that England's gonna throw it away, gonna blow it away. But I know.
Well, I don't think England blew it at all, right? They won. I think I'm trying to keep up with the World Cup of footy and all that stuff. I think England did win last night, correct? They beat Mexico, something that was not expected to happen given that they were playing in Mexico, where I guess the Mexicans hadn't lost very often anyway. England wins, and it was on this day in 1996, exactly 30 years ago, that the Lightning Seeds took that song, Three Lions, to number one on the UK singles chart. That was the official song of the England football team, or as many of us around here call it, soccer. And comedians Baddiel and Skinner participated on that song along with the Lightning Seeds to go number one on the UK singles chart on this day in 1996. I figured it was as fitting as anything else I could add to the start of the show today because, of course, the World Cup is what it is, and I did get to watch a little bit of it over the weekend. Now, I will never tell you a lie on this show. I can only ever be my true and authentic self, and I just have to be honest about this. It looked to me, because I got to watch Saturday's Canada, who did we play? Morocco game with friends. The watch party made it much more interesting. It appeared to me as though I'm no soccer expert, as you might have guessed, but it looked like Canada played a pretty good game. Despite the fact that we lost, I don't think we have anything to be embarrassed or ashamed of following our advancement to the round of 16. But I have to say, I still don't quite get it. I'm trying my best to embrace this beautiful game, as it's called. And as much as it was more exciting to watch the game with friends on the weekend, because they were far more into it than why do the players fall down on the field and roll around and clutch their shins and hold their shoulders and complain about their elbows? Like, do they ever see, we should make them watch hockey for just 5 minutes and see what happens in the game of hockey, and then go back out and run around and fall down and roll around on the ground a little bit longer. It's just, I know that's an old criticism and probably a completely worn out joke or whatever by now. It's not even a joke, but it's true. Watching this sport, I don't understand. I know you're incredibly fit to run around that field for as long as you run around that field. And I suppose when you're running really fast and somebody slides into your legs or how about when they step on your foot? I'm sure it's a little bit uncomfortable. But come on with your coming on. The theatrics, the drama, the falling to the ground and rolling around. Enough is enough of that. Canada's out. England did win last night, and the U.S. gets a Donald Trump-induced break from FIFA. Wouldn't just bow to the pressure of the President of the United States, would it? No. FIFA would never do that because FIFA is not a corrupt organization in the least, right? Anyway, good luck to the Americans as they play tonight. It is 5 minutes after 9 on this Monday morning. the 6th of July. Oh my goodness gracious, we have moved into the month of July. How you been keeping? I've been away for a little bit. Took an extended Canada Day weekend after last Wednesday's holiday. Decided for a little bit more R&R following the end of a long Kitchener Rangers playoff season and then a month of fundraising for cystic fibrosis research. Really hoping we can wrap everything up and find a final number that we can share with you for our fundraising total from this past year, hopefully later this week. So I'm really hopeful of that. But put that all to bed and then decided it was time for a little bit of a rest. That weekend watch party I got to be a part of was thanks to friends who invited us up to their little vacation recreational getaway up in Collingwood. We were able to get away, just have some real nice downtime, ate a little too much, drank a little too much, and came back home to get ready for work today. So really enjoyed the time, but it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a minute. So if there are any updates that I need to know about, I trust that you will keep me up to speed. There were no guest hosts, so nobody broke the rules while I was away, right? And we can remain penalty box free here on the show. Yeah, Kyle, I'm talking to you. Nobody used names of teams that shall not be named. Nobody broke any of the rules. There's one rule on the show, that's it. So everything should be good as far as that is concerned. But speaking of the team that shall not be named, because we finished the Farwell for Hire fundraising campaign last Tuesday, almost a week ago, on June the 30th, and the 50-50 raffle reached the threshold of $150,000. It went as high as $186,000 plus. That's why our winner got more than $93,000. But because it reached that $150,000 threshold, I did pledge to do our own version of the Hot Ones Challenge here on the show today. And so that means, well, I said I would do it when the jackpot reached that amount, and it did. So once we got it awarded last Tuesday, it is time for me to make good on what I promised to do. And that means today on the show, I will not only don the jersey of the team that shall not be named, I will also partake in that Hot Ones Challenge. We're going to put our own little twist on it. Usually, the Hot Ones Challenge happens when somebody is being interviewed and they try to keep it together while doing the interview and eating those increasingly hot chicken wings. I'm just going to keep doing the show, and my friend Chris from Ginger Goat Hot Sauce, he is a hot sauce expert and makes some really good stuff if you're into hot sauces, which I am not. So we'll see how this all works out for me. But he will feed me increasingly hot chicken wings. I'm just glad I've got a friend like Jay Taylor from Morty's Pub who's going to bring the wings. So I know at least I'll be eating something good. But what's getting put on them, I don't even want to think about. If you've got any tips, by all means, my email inbox or my phone line is always open. But the email is mike@570news.com. And you know the phone numbers, 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. But what happens when you eat wings that are that hot and you don't really enjoy the hot food in the first place? So I really don't know what happens today between noon and 1. I know we've got Jay here from Morty's. We've got Chris from Ginger Goat Hot Sauce and my buddy Orest from Nickelbrook Brewing. I'm not going to drink on the air as much as I would like to some days, even absent a Hot Ones Challenge. But that's a no-no. We won't be doing that. But Orest will be offering some little pairings that I think might be, he thinks might be helpful. And maybe you can learn a little bit about the next time you want to eat super hot food. Like, why do people even do it? Why do you want to have food that burns your face and causes you to sweat? Is that enjoyable for anybody? I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily going to be enjoyable for me, but a promise is a promise, and we will keep that commitment, and I will do so with your support today between noon and 1. Our very own version of the Hot Ones Challenge is coming out. So I'll take any tips you have to try to mitigate the impact of all of this hot sauce. Apparently, Chris from Ginger Goat is going to connect with the guy that made it. And I think he has a sauce that was made by like the hottest pepper in the world. I don't even know what the Scoville rating is on this thing, but it's the hottest pepper. Like, why do you want to do that? Is that, well, I guess I get it. It's some kind of badge of honor, right? That you created the hottest of the hot peppers on the planet. Okay, you do you, boo. But I don't necessarily want to be on the receiving end of that. But like I said, made a promise, so we're going to do that. And I guess the hottest of the 8 wings I'll be eating is going to be covered in the hottest sauce made by the hottest pepper in the world today. Only remains to be seen what happens between noon and 1. On the phones, Gary is with us this morning, Farwell's Force, member number 41. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Well, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not going to tell a lie. Like, I don't know about this nonsense, Gary.
I would be nervous, too. I've watched enough YouTube and Instagram videos that, where it's either a famous movie star or Gordon Ramsay or whatever, and they do the hot wing challenge, and they start off mild, and then they slowly work their way up to the, oh, my God, and, they'll have a glass of milk. But, yes, I don't mind a little bit of spice, but I couldn't do any of those challenges. So my heart goes out to you, and I really hope that it all goes well for you today. But it's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully I can listen to it when I'm done at 12. But, yeah, that's going to be crazy, Mike.
It's not going to be my favorite thing. That is for sure.
Yeah, well, I wish you all the best, buddy. I hope it goes okay.
Thanks, pal. I appreciate that, and it's good to hear from you this morning. It's funny you mentioned those videos because I was told about how bad this is. You'll have to forgive me. I'm halfway distracted here because my computer, this is what happens when I go away for a few days, and I should have, this is all on me. I assume all responsibility for this, but I should have fired up my computer a lot sooner because it needed a real kick in the derriere today. Did you do the Windows update at your work or at your home? Because the Windows update can go pound salt. I don't know what it is about Windows. Anyway, my computer really, really had some issues this morning, but we're getting them sorted and we'll be able to do the normal show. I promise you that, because the computer seems to be getting back up to speed this morning. If I got to take some time to get up to speed on a Monday morning after a few days off, I'll grant the computer the same grace. Anyway, I was told this same thing about the videos that are online and how people respond and react. Maybe I watched the wrong videos, but I didn't see anybody rolling around on the floor or losing their lunch, to put it as kindly and gently as I can, at 9:14 in the morning. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Noon to 1. We are on Rogers TV Cable 20 as well. So you can, listen, I already mentioned to you, I'm never going to tell you a lie. So I will be wearing the jersey of the team that shall not be named. I will be consuming the wings. I will be doing my very best. I am wondering this. Am I allowed to tap out at any point? Like when my face is on fire or I can't even swallow again, can I just say I'm out? Like, you beat me. Can I say that after the second wing? Is another question I might have to ask about this. Noon to 1, I pay the price for you getting the jackpot in the Farwell for Hire 50-50 raffle as high as he did.
1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love
Let's go for 5 on this Monday morning, the 6th of July. Your Farwell Show 5 beginning at number 1. There is a 4th entrant in the race to become the next mayor of Cambridge. Construction company owner Ryan Bolender has announced his candidacy for the top political job in Cambridge, saying he will respect tax dollars, fix core services, and build a better community. Bolender joins incumbent Mayor Jan Liggett, incumbent Councillor Scott Hamilton, and BIA executive Brian Kennedy on the ballot. Number 2, it's been a great start to 2026 if you like snowy, wet weather. According to the E.D. Soulis Memorial Weather Station at the University of Waterloo, we have had more than 523 millimeters of precipitation so far this year, compared to an average of just over 416. So more than 100 millimeters more already this year. That includes an unusually wet June with 102 millimeters of total rainfall, much more than the average of 71. Temperature-wise, June was just 0.2 degrees above average for heat, and that's despite the heat wave that ended the month. I know it gets tiring. I understand that, and I feel a little bit guilty for it, but you've heard me complain and kvetch about the weather. And in true Canadian fashion, I'm always finding something weather-wise to complain about. But I told you so. I want this year to... It's been the worst weather for 6 months. It's all the snow. It's all the rain. It's all the soggy. That's all I got to say about that. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, a new option for summer travel plans begins today. In fact, it rolled out of the station, the Via station in Kitchener this morning. Metrolinx started GO train service heading further west from this region. Daily trips to Stratford, 7 days a week. The expanded service on the Kitchener line is going to be a year-round change. It includes morning rush hour express trains, weekdays from Stratford to Union Station in Toronto. So we get to go from here to there as well, west to Stratford on the GO train as of this morning. Number 4, you can once again row your boat at Victoria Park. The city of Kitchener reversed its decision of last month after hearing a public outcry when signs were posted saying boating was no longer allowed. Stickers now cover that part of the new sign that forbid boating. So you see, at least we're not... Well, you know what? We probably will change the sign at some point, won't we? But for now, the temporary fix is a sticker covering the part that says, "Thou shalt not boat at Victoria Park." This is a tradition, by the way, boating on the water at Victoria Park, that dates back to the late 1800s. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Waterloo's Hannah Blair will compete as part of Canada's Commonwealth Games team at the event later this month in Scotland. Blair qualified by taking top spot 2 weeks ago at the Canadian Track and Field Championships. The Commonwealth Games open July the 23rd in Glasgow and will mark the first time that Hannah Blair has represented her country at an international event.
You go to the box, you feel shame.
And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Monday morning. Quick break. Coming back with your morning wake-up call, and I wonder if you might be able to help me today. I came across a new word in the vocabulary. I had no idea what it meant. I was visiting our friends at TLC Pet Food in New Hamburg about 2 weeks ago now, towards the end of the Farwell for Hire fundraising campaign. And we got a chance to sit and visit, and their social committee was talking about the event that they were putting together for staff to enjoy. They were going to have a glizzy night, a glizzy afternoon, a glizzy day. Anyway, they were organizing the glizzy day. What on earth is a glizzy? Do you know what that is? I was about 2 weeks ago days old when I learned what a glizzy was. Have you any idea? If you don't know off the top of your head, ask the youngin' that is nearby. Or maybe you are that youngin', or just young at heart, or keep up with the vocabulary better than I do. What is a glizzy? Let me know. Help me out with the morning wake-up call on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Thanks for the email to mike@570news.com with the suggestion that I have some milk or yogurt ready for the Hot Ones challenge later on today. That's apparently for when my mouth starts to burn. Should I drink olive oil ahead of time? Maybe a little bit of coating to protect against the burn? I don't know. I didn't bring any milk, much to my beloved's chagrin. I just thought, listen, it's going to hurt. It's going to be difficult and uncomfortable no matter what. I'm just going to go with what the good Lord gave me, which isn't a whole lot in the way of tolerance for hot, spicy foods. But I brought a towel, too. I'm not just using napkins to dab my face. My whole head's going to be sweating, I am sure. So I'm at least that prepared. But would milk and or yogurt do anything? I'm going to keep some yogurt handy. I bring yogurt to work every day for my old man breakfast, so I will be saving some for my Hot Ones challenge between noon and 1 today. So it was less than 2 weeks ago that I learned, and Jonathan sends an email to mike@570news.com, and he is correct with his answer to the question, what is a glizzy? So the social committee at TLC Pet Food was talking about putting together a fun event for staff. They were going to have a glizzy day or a glizzy after. I can't remember anyway, it was something glizzy. And I'm like, what on earth is a glizzy? To me, that sounds like something that you put on, like glitter. Do you have a big glitter party? Do you walk around the shop at TLC Pet Food and throw glitter? Because that'd be a lot of fun to clean up after the fact, right? No, it's got nothing to do with that. We used to do these things when I was in elementary school. I don't know about you and when you were in elementary school, but we had these days in elementary school, which I quite looked forward to because it was an opportunity to eat some things that you didn't usually get to eat at school. But we didn't call them glizzies back then. Jersey Bill is with me on the phone. Maybe Jersey Bill knows because they just had the big contest for July the 4th. Right, Billy?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that they had a big contest, but I asked my 12-year-old grandson who's staying with us today because, of course, no school.
Okay,
and he says that what he heard from his classmates was that glizzy meant that you were doing a kind of function, this kind of movement with your hands as though you were playing the vuvuzela, which, of course, was famous because it was that horrible horn that they played when the World Cup was in South Africa.
Ah, well, Billy, your 12-year-old has different classmates than the, I don't know if these were millennials or Gen Zers or what, but no, that's not what a glizzy is as far as I know.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Well, I guess his school didn't have the right idea.
I guess not. A glizzy, as Jonathan notes in his email, is a hot dog. And now I'm getting sent posts on social media from my beloved because this came up over the weekend. And who was it? Was it Kelsey Ballerini holding a glizzy, asking if she had put the right toppings on it, which she didn't, by the way, because she had ketchup. The only ingredient or the only condiment that goes on a hot dog is mustard. But why did we change? Why do we call it a glizzy now? I don't understand this. How is glizzy any easier to say than hot dog? I miss the days where we just debated whether or not a hot dog was a sandwich. That I can get behind. But why are we changing the term? It's still 2 syllables, hot dog, glizzy. What are we doing here? Why you got to be different, you youngins, you? I'm still going to call it a hot dog because I'm a rebel that way. But if anybody asks you what a glizzy is, or they say they're going to have a glizzy or some kind of glizzy day with their social committee at work, that's a hot dog. We used to have hot dog days when I was in elementary school. We called them hot dogs. For some reason, they've changed it to glizzy. If that ever makes its way into our dictionary as a new word of the year, I give up. Yes, I am that old guy shaking my fist at the glizzy cloud. But it's a hot dog. You call it a glizzy if you want to. You're just trying to speak another language. This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, we know following a meeting of regional council a little over a week ago that our regional government will assume control and operations of, well, not necessarily the operations of, the working center will be in there supporting from an operational standpoint, but the region will fund the ongoing work at a better tent city. These are the tiny cabins that are sitting on property belonging to the Waterloo Region District School Board on Ardelt Avenue. And it had been a volunteer-run organization until earlier this year when the volunteers said, we just don't have the capacity to continue, asked the region to take over. A report by regional staff recommended that council move in that direction. And while it was not without debate and some disagreement around the horseshoe, ultimately the vote was that, yes, the region should take over this project and continue to fund it at a tune of just under $6 million annually. Some councillors balked at that cost, saying it's about $130,000 per resident or per tiny cabin. But nonetheless, the region will move forward with this funding because, of course, we continue to battle chronic homelessness in the community. Jim Erb is a regional councillor who represents Waterloo and joins us to talk more about it. Mr. Erb, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. How about yourself?
Not too much to complain about.
I'm glad to hear that. At the meeting of council, when it was decided that the region should assume control of a better tent city, you said that we as a region could not afford not to do this. Why did you feel that way?
Currently, there are 40-plus cabins at a better tent city and an equal number of visitors on a daily basis who are there for lunch, often staying overnight. And so we're looking at roughly 80 to 90 people. If we didn't do something, we would be looking probably at another couple unsanctioned encampments in the region of Waterloo. And I don't think that's the kind of living environment that any of us want people who are homeless to live in. The community does not want that. Neighborhoods do not want that. And so I think we made the best decision possible in trying to continue the work that the volunteers had started at a better tent city and create a space where these people can live safely, hopefully stabilize their lives, and then move on to some more supportive housing.
I note, Jim, the point you make about the number of visitors who are at a better tent city on a daily basis. So while there are 42 cabins and 42 residents of those cabins, there are about double the number of people who are served daily by a better tent city. What does that do to the equation when it comes to what monies will be spent by the region on this ongoing operation?
The operation of a better tent city will be $2.9 million annually, not the $6 million. However, the region has recognized that there were these visitors that were constantly at a better tent city and need to be cared for. So we put another $2.8 million into the budget for ancillary services to help to provide other forms of shelter care, support systems in the community, counseling to hopefully get them into housing. So the actual operation of a better tent city is $2.9 million. And an additional $2.8 million to support the other people who were coming and going to that site. Granted, it's a significant amount of money, but we do need to care for these folks who live in our community.
How does the region prevent a better tent city from becoming something similar to the Herbs Road sanctioned encampment, outdoor encampment, that folks who delegated at your meeting, Jim, were very much opposed to? They described it much like a prison on Herbs Road because of the rules and restrictions around it. How do you prevent, now that the region operates a better tent city, from becoming similar?
There'll be a working center that operates a better tent city. They're the ones that operate the Herbs Road as well. And I think one of the things that a better tent city, that the working center did when Herbs Road opened was put some rules in place. And one of those rules was no visitors. And consequently, the work of the working center at Herbs Road they've served 150 people that have moved in there over the course of the years, and they're moving about 24% of those people out into supportive housing at the end of being there when they're stabilized for 3 or 4 years, or 3 or 4 months. So it proves that if we can get people into a controlled setting where there are some rules, stabilize their lives, there is the opportunity to move them on to more supportive housing. And hopefully we're going to be able to see those same outcomes at a better tent city once the working center is there and has some rules and order in place.
Some of your colleagues on council pointed to that 24% number from Herbs Road that have been moved into permanent, stable, supportive housing as being a number that doesn't reflect enough progress. Only 1 in 4 getting into that stable, supportive housing. How do you view that progress? Is that a success story in your eyes?
I think they're doing very well, and it would mirror the numbers that we hear from a House of Friendship, from the Bridges in Cambridge, from other facilities in Ontario and across Canada, that if we can move 20 to 25% into more supportive housing from a shelter system after they've been stabilized, we see that as moving in the right direction. Obviously, we all like to see that number higher, but I think we have to recognize the condition these people are in when they moved into the shelter system in the first place. They may have been living in a tent, they have been surf couching, they've been living outdoors for maybe a year or more, and until those lives are stabilized and move them out, I think we should be quite pleased with the 24% ratio.
One of the other big questions that has arisen following this decision by Regional Council, Jim, is the permanence, or perhaps lack thereof, of these cabins now and of the storage units that make up the Herbs Road encampment. And some have pointed out that if the region is now going to be counting these tiny cabins of a better tent city in their shelter count, this is a signal that this is viewed as a permanent solution to our homelessness crisis in the community. How do you argue otherwise, that this is not going to be permanent?
I don't see it as something permanent. One of the things that I mentioned at council meeting, imagine a healthcare system without an emergency department. I see the healthcare system, I see the shelter system as part of a system where people come in similar to an emergency department. Things happen in our lives. We try and stabilize them, and we move them on to better housing. The 24% of the people that we are able to move out into supportive housing, we're able to bring another 20 people in at the other end. So I don't see this at all as long-term housing. Look, I was a founding board member of Habitat for Humanity Waterloo Region back in the 80s, and no one is a stronger supporter of affordable and supportive housing than me. And the more we can develop partnerships with service providers in the community to create more housing, the happier I'll be.
When it comes to, and you did outline the costs here and why you think the spending is necessary, expensive as it may be, but as a municipality, Jim, as a regional government, how much more can we possibly shoulder in terms of this cost?
We're getting to a point where it's becoming a burden for the taxpayer. There's no question about that, Mike. We're one of the few, we're the only province in the country where the provincial government does not shoulder some of these costs with the municipality, and we're placing more and more of it on the local taxpayer. We need a new fiscal arrangement between the province, the federal government, and the municipalities. And I hope that we can continue advocating and working at that with the upper levels of government so that the financial burden can be shifted more to another level of government, and it's not the municipal tax base that has to keep paying for it. But this is getting very, very expensive, and hopefully the upper levels of government will begin to see the burden that it is placing on our taxpayer and will be able to help us in some way.
You shared with me, Jim, an example from the University Health Network in Toronto, where they created a Center for Social Medicine that long term comes out to be far less expensive than what it costs for repeated visits to emergency departments, etc. I don't know if that was funded municipally in Toronto or somehow through fundraising, or if the province supported that. But is there any opportunity to get to a model like that here in the region?
I think that's a great model, Mike. The House of Friendships, to some degree, is working at that with that kind of a model on Weaver Street with their shelter care, where they have statistically proven the number of calls to emergency department, to EMS, to police are all declining because of the kind of health care and shelter care they will be able to provide at on Weaver Street. I know the Working Center is in conversation with the provincial government to provide that kind of care out of their facility on Victoria Street. So hopefully those new initiatives are going to be realized in our community, and we'll be able to reduce those costs of other services that are provided in the healthcare system.
Jim, I appreciate your time on the show this morning. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome, Mike. Enjoy the week.
You too. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Jim Erb is a regional councillor who represents Waterloo. He said at council's meeting about 10 days ago that we as a community, we as a regional government, could not afford to turn down this opportunity to fund a better tent city. Because if we turn down this opportunity, those 42 people and the associated visitors disperse into the community, and then where do they end up? I'll bet you, I would bet whatever dollars I have in my pocket, and I think I've got a 5 on me today, but anyway, I would bet that you know of an encampment somewhere in your neighborhood, or maybe something that you pass on the way to work. Yeah? And by that I mean an encampment that is not Weber and Victoria in Kitchener, the big encampment that continues to be the source of great concern and a whole lot of conversation. I'll bet you have seen others. Maybe just one person there, maybe a couple, but they exist. They are in wooded areas, maybe corners of parks somewhere. I don't know. You can tell me, because I'll bet you that you have seen one, haven't you? And if the region did not fund a better tent city, then those 42 people and the other 40 plus visitors would end up just finding space somewhere, trying to stay out of sight, out of mind maybe, but also for survival, doing whatever they're doing in that particular neighborhood. Is it breaking into residential garages, nearby businesses to find things that they can sell, to buy food, buy drugs because they're addicted to them? I don't know. But we know that these challenges exist in communities where encampments exist. So I am on board with Jim Erb's idea here that if you don't fund this, the outcomes are far worse. Where I begin to struggle, and I remember asking Regional Councillor Elizabeth Clark about this when she was still on council. She is now departed, but council, that is. She's not departed the world. But when we were first bringing a supervised consumption site to downtown Kitchener, and this was to stem the tide of addiction and this and that, and there would be the opportunity, of course, for those folks who visit the supervised consumption site to get supports, to hopefully direct them to something better, something stable, maybe some sort of rehabilitation program. I don't know. I never went inside. I never needed the services of a supervised consumption site, but I remember asking Councillor Clark, okay, we're opening this site. Is there a time horizon on its existence? Does it last for 3 years or 5 years? Do we measure outcomes and then determine at some point that it has met its stated goals? And she didn't have an answer to that. And the only reason the supervised consumption site got closed down is because the province stepped in and said enough is enough. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what happened. And I feel similarly when it comes to a better tent city and our Herbs Road encampment and the permanence of them. We're funding Herbs Road till 2030, so for another 4 years already. We are going to continue with a better tent city, and I get it. And I've said before, at least we can see where some of this money being spent on chronic homelessness in the region is going. But is this what we want as permanent solutions to homelessness in the community? A community of tiny cabins on school board property on Ardelt Ave near the expressway? An encampment on Herbs Road not far from the Costco Center, shopping center? This is where we're at. And absent any upper level of government funding, I don't know how we put a time horizon on it. So, two things here. The permanence of encampments like this, managed encampments, is that something that you are comfortable with in your community as part of a homelessness solution? And have you seen another tent, tarp, little community anywhere near where you live? Because I'll bet you have. Weber and Victoria sure as heck ain't the only place where people are living with nothing more than a canvas around them, right? This is the reality of our homelessness situation today. Always interested in your thoughts and where maybe you've seen those encampments on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
If we didn't do something, we would be looking probably at another couple unsanctioned encampments in the region of Waterloo. And I don't think that's the kind of living environment that any of us want people who are homeless to live in. The community does not want that. Neighborhoods do not want that. And so I think we made the best decision possible in trying to continue the work that the volunteers had started at a Better Tent City.
I gotta say, I don't disagree. If you don't fund a Better Tent City, what becomes of the dozens of people who have called it home, makeshift as it may be, for quite some time? There are challenges, though, around how permanent this makes places like a Better Tent City and that encampment on Herbs Road, and the financial burden that's being placed on municipalities like ours. There's got to be an end game here, because we can't afford as municipal taxpayers to continue in this direction. That was Regional Councillor Jim Erb, who represents Waterloo. Let's go to the phones and hear from you this morning. Michelle, good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you, Mike?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. A long-time listener. I don't call in very often, but I think this, has sort of tie in with mental health, and that's something that really sort of speaks to me. And I think so many people have tried accessing our mental health in the community, and it's a challenging thing to try to do, to navigate and to get the resources that people desperately need at times when they need it. And I think homelessness is a result of not being able to access the resources for mental health issues, and it's a really sad statement that we do have as many homeless people as we have in our community. And I feel like if we don't address the issue of mental health and accessibility for individuals in a more comprehensive and directed method, we will always have this problem. This is the fallout. This is what happens, and you have to pay, whether you pay up front and you actually provide services for people, and if you don't do that, you'll end up with homelessness, right? So you have to pay one way or the other. Why not, try to deal with it sooner in a person's, mental health journey than dealing with it? Well, we have all of these issues, and how do we handle it afterwards? And anyways, I feel like it hasn't been handled properly by our government and by our health services. So I guess that's my take on it. And if we're not going to deal with it at the front end, then I think we should be supporting at the back end.
Michelle, appreciate you sharing your thoughts today. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
Great to hear from you. The word health comes in there, and we know healthcare is a provincial responsibility. It's not all mental health. It's not all addiction, but that's a large part of it. Both of those issues exist within our homelessness continuum, if you will. And both of those issues fall under the purview of the provincial health ministry. Where is the provincial funding to do the proactive work that Michelle's talking about instead of the reactive work that we continue to do? This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, it was exactly 2 weeks ago today that I had the opportunity to be a part of something pretty special. I didn't know how special it was when it started, but boy, oh boy, did it turn into an unforgettable moment. The occasion was the annual golf tournament in support of our friends at KW Access Ability, where they access your abilities. I've been a part of this golf tournament. It's a lot of fun for many, many years now. And as always, with the fundraiser that it is, there is an auction included. But this particular auction did something absolutely remarkable, and we wanted to share that story with you this morning. So I am joined by a bevy of guests, including the executive director at KW Access Ability, Edward Farwell, is with us. Good morning, my friend.
Morning, Mike.
Along with Edward, we've got a couple of people that really, I think, made this special moment happen. Chad Levesque, the president and director of Max Power, joins us. Chad, good morning to you.
Pleasure and honor to be here today. Thank you for 570 News for hosting this amazing opportunity to tell this fantastic story.
Very happy to be able to tell the story and share the role that you and Max Power played in it. Richard is with us as well from Max Power. Richard, I'm sorry, I don't have full details on your last name and position with Max Power, but if you could fill us in on that, please.
Yeah, Richard Savage. I'm one of the founders of Max Power and a shareholder of Max Power. And great to see you, Mike.
You too, Richard. Thank you very much for being here. Wendy Hearn is with us as well. She is a volunteer with KW Accessibility, and it's always good to see you, Wendy. Thank you for being here this morning.
Mike, it's always a pleasure to be here, and thank you for so much you do for us.
I think now we have also connected with Curtis McCone, who is the founder and president of MIG or MIG Benefits and the trademark holder of Care, Share, and Conserve. Curtis, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Glad we could connect. So let's start, Curtis, with you if we could, because it was your daughter, Mackie, who made the painting that raised $50,000 all on its own. One painting from Mackie, $50,000. Tell us a little more about Mackie and this painting, Curtis.
Well, Mackie, she sends her regrets. She's just driving home from up north. She's volunteering today for a local charity golf tournament, but she passes along her regrets. She's 12 years old, and she painted that for our neighbor who had an illness a few years ago and gave it to him. And he was kind enough to donate it to the auction with Richard and Chad and his team.
What was Mackie's introduction to art? I mean, it was a beautiful painting, but how did she get involved?
I think it's very, very much her passion. She's always drawing and painting, and there's art everywhere. We have an art table at her home that she spends most of her time, and yeah, she's just very passionate about it.
As I mentioned at the outset, Curtis, you are the trademark holder of Care, Share, and Conserve. And when you and I were exchanging emails, you shared with me that trademark that you hold and how this really is kind of like a core family value for the McCones.
Yes, I grew up in Clinton, Ontario, and we were living in Toronto and didn't have kids yet. So Mary and I decided that we wanted to install small town values for our kids. So we built it around those three words and trademarked it.
I absolutely love it. Care, share, and conserve. Chad, let me swing it over to you, president and director with Max Power, which was the winning $50,000 bid here. What was it about Mackie's piece of art that inspired you?
Well, I think it's the great work that KW Accessibility does and the opportunity for our team and Richard to put that successful winning bid. $50,000 goes such an amazing long way. And, Mackie's art is beautiful, and art's in the eye of the beholder. And this was probably one of the most expensive art pieces ever for a 12-year-old in Canadian history. So we're very proud to be a part of that moment and the great work that the KW Accessibility Program brings to so many adults with physical disabilities. For us, we're such a community-minded company, and to be a part of this moment was just such a heartwarming opportunity for our team. And I'll actually let Richard kind of talk about that, as he was the one that actually won the winning bid for that beautiful art piece.
I'm going to come right to that, but because of something you said, Chad, I just want to explore it a little further. You talk about being a community-minded organization. This was the first time that Max Power was a part of our annual golf tournament. I mentioned that I've been a part of it for many years now with KW Accessibility, but I got to learn some things a couple of weeks ago, but that was my introduction too. Tell us more about Max Power, what you do and what you stand for.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mike. So Max Power Mining is a publicly traded company, MAXX on the CSE, MAXX. Max Power is developing a new primary energy source for the world, and that energy source is naturally occurring hydrogen. So we're at the forefront of geopioneering an exciting new clean energy opportunity. And that's something that we feel it has tremendous opportunity to transition Canada back into an economic superpower of clean energy generation. So at Max Power, we're really passionate about driving new energy industry forward. And natural hydrogen is super exciting because it's clean, renewable baseload energy at a time when energy sovereignty and energy dependence is so critical. It's something that we're very passionate about here at Max Power, but the great work that KW Accessibility also does is something that really caught our attention to be involved with from a community level. And what we're developing in Saskatchewan, and what we envision with natural hydrogen has, Canadian-wide implications. The geology for natural hydrogen is Canadian-wide. And we do have properties in Ontario, and that's why we wanted to engage with this great event to start our community engagement in the province of Ontario.
Richard Savage, founder at Max Power, when you were sitting in that dining room at Galt Country Club a couple of weeks ago, did you have any idea, like the energy that got caught up in that particular auction for this art piece? What was going through your mind as this auction was happening?
Incredible interest on the work of art. To answer that question, Mike, a bit of background. We have a foundation. I'm in North Vancouver, British Columbia, and Artists for Kids is art education for children in the North Vancouver school district. So, like Curtis was saying, it provides access to the arts for kids. My wife and I tried to have kids. We didn't have kids, so that got me involved. So it's all the top artists in Canada, the National Gallery artists in Canada, are involved in Artists for Kids and the Gordon Smith Foundation, which I'm vice chair of. And what was I thinking? You buy what you love, and I love that work of art. That was an abstract. There's tremendous interest in it after I've purchased it. Everyone says, can she do another one? I want one of those. So just excitement. I think any auction, what was in my mind, you get caught up in that excitement. But I'm glad that myself and Max Power were the winning bid, because it's a wonderful work of art.
I remember starting the bidding on that piece of art at $200, I believe, and it was going up slowly until somebody said $1,000, and then it snowballs. And it was you, Richard, along with two other bidders that continued to keep this ball rolling. How determined were you to ensure that it was going to be you and Max Power that had that winning bid?
Well, you can't go forever. I know there were tears in the room when we hit 20,000. And so it's very emotional. And that's a great question, Mike. I mean, in the heat of the moment, would I have gone over 100,000? I don't know. I'm glad I got it for 50,000. I think it was a great price for the work of art. And you never know when people are going to stop, but just fortunate ended up and got it at that price.
Edward, let me swing it over to you, the executive director at KW Accessibility. This golf tournament, we celebrated 10 years a couple of weeks ago. We know it's an annual fundraiser. We've done these live auctions before. Heck, we had signed memorabilia, Patrick Mahomes and a Dylan Edwards Kitchener Rangers jersey that didn't go for nearly as much. As this auction really took off, Edward, and you heard the bidding go from $1,000 all the way up to $50,000 on just one of the items. What was going through your mind as the executive director at KWA?
Well, just unbelievable excitement. I really could not believe that such an amazing painting could bring in such a wonderful amount of money, and just the good that it's going to allow us to do. This money is going to help so many people. We've talked about accessing people's abilities, and with this kind of help, it's going to open up unbelievable limits for people.
What does it mean to an organization like yours, Edward, to have a company like Max Power step forward in the manner that it has here to help raise this kind of money, and that you will, of course, be able to use to support so many folks in our community?
Well, we're so grateful for the connections that we made with Max Power. They're on the cutting edge of some new technology, and with this type of help that they're providing to us, we're going to be able to use new technology for our members as well to open up a whole new world. They're opening up a whole new world in their field, but this money is going to enable us to open up a big, bright world for many of our people with visual impairments.
The joke going around the room, Edward, a couple of weeks ago, as this auction got as high as it got, was that we needed the defibrillator to bring you back to life. I mean, at least somebody fanning you. This must have been something that took your breath away.
Mike, it absolutely was. I thought I was dreaming. I really was. I had the people beside me pinching me, going like, "This is really happening." It just means so much for a small agency like our agency, where funding has always been a challenge, and especially in the last few years, where we've seen people not donating as much. Times are tough for so many people, and so our funding has really gone down, which has sort of curtailed what we can do with our members and how we can help them. So having something like this come to us, and for Max Power to see the value that we bring to our community, it just means so much to us.
Wendy, as I swing it over to you as a longtime volunteer with KW Accessibility and a key part of this golf tournament every year, yours were some of the tears that were shed in that room a couple of weeks ago. What was going through your mind as this auction got up to $50,000?
Well, I've known Mackie for a while, and she's just a sweet girl. And I know Ron, the person who was the recipient of her artwork. So seeing the way it all tied together, it was, and then I played Vanna White and was holding it up. And when it got to 10,000, I started getting like out of body experience, almost like goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to go so far for the organization. When it got to 25,000, I was in full on tears. And I couldn't even dream that it would have escalated to $50,000. And it definitely, for every person in that room, it was a very special moment. And what it does for us is, like, we have blind and visually impaired people. We were able to buy 24 pair of Meta AI glasses for those people, and it's changing their lives. We can afford to put on programs weekly now to help them get used to their Meta AI glasses and use them to their maximum potential. So it was such a beautiful, heart warming humanitarian moment that I could never have even dreamed of. And bar none, my favorite part in the last 10 years of this golf tournament. It goes down in history for sure.
Now, how do you top that next year, Wendy? I mean, that's what the volunteers do, right? They get back to work on the next tournament as soon as one is finished.
Yeah, I'm going over to Mackie's house, and I'm going to be watching her do some artwork. And, yeah, I know they have big things going to happen with that piece of art. It's not done its job. It's just such a gift, and it's like what it's doing is beyond comprehension to help so many lives created by a 10-year-old girl. It's mind blowing when you think about it.
Curtis, go ahead, Chad. Sorry.
I was going to say to kick off next year's event, to take it to that next level, Max Power was incredibly proud to support and sponsor this current event and have the great success that it has. We're going to go on the record here, and we are going to say we're going to be back as title sponsor for next year, and we're going to look at to make it as bigger and better as we possibly can. This was such an honor to be a part of this team, and Max Power will be 100% back for next year, and can't wait to see the next beautiful art piece that Mackie creates.
Edward, how's the defibrillator? Do you have it handy this morning?
Oh, man. Yeah. That's actually starting to bring tears to my eyes.
Me too.
Max Power has no idea what this is going to mean to our members and to our agency. And we've worked so hard for so many years, and to have them join us in this fight and believe in what we're doing and walking with us. I mean, it's just incredible. We appreciate you guys so much.
Curtis?
Appreciate you as well, too.
Does Mackie have another $50,000 piece of art in her? Pressure's on, Curtis.
I'm sure it's all sentimental, though. I mean, we didn't expect this either. So it's, and we like giving back to the community, and this was via someone else, and Max Power supports. So I'm sure she will work on something for next year for sure.
It is a fantastic story with Max Power leading the way and pledging this morning. They're coming back as a title sponsor for the 11th annual KW Accessibility Golf Tournament next year. Already looking forward to it. Edward, you can put my name down as MC again because I always love seeing you, despite the hard time you give me. And it's a great event. We always have a good time. And this one is something that we will never forget. Chad and Richard with Max Power, Curtis McCone, father of Mackie, who created the art, Edward and Wendy, KW Accessibility. Thank you for all coming together to share your time with us on the show this morning to amplify this terrific story. Really appreciate you all being here.
Thanks so much for having us, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is right around that time of the day that we give you the reminder that not everyone is a jackwagon, because sometimes, and especially on a show like this, but you can get frustrated, right? Maybe somebody cuts you off in traffic. Maybe somebody is impolite in line at the coffee shop, whatever it happens to be. And you just curse and swear and think, everyone is a jackwagon. Don't worry about it. First of all, I met the jackwagon extraordinaire over this past weekend. He describes himself as that. We had a nice weekend away with some friends. They were putting up the accommodations, and we got involved in a couple of really fun board games. And every time my good friend, who is now the jackwagon extraordinaire, pulled off a move that made it difficult on me, he just reminded me that he was the jackwagon extraordinaire. Anyway, around this time, we remind you that not everybody is a jackwagon, and perhaps not even a jackwagon extraordinaire. I think the story we just shared from the KW Accessibility Golf Tournament a couple of weeks ago qualifies in one big happy lump sum, right? A $50,000 piece of art created by a young girl who goes to St. John Kilmarnock private school in our community, raises that $50,000 for KW accessibility. An incredible donation for sure. The auction was electric, as I got to be the one calling out the next bid and the next bid and the next bid, and then gone for $50,000. That goes a long way towards helping people in our community as we unlock their abilities. And it was a pretty special thing to be a part of, made possible by the folks at Max Power and KW Accessibility. There's the reminder that not everyone is a jackwagon. We're going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then let's talk about the KW Symphony. It is on its way back. The Phoenix rising from the ashes, and the city of Kitchener is going to be granting some money towards this rebuilding organization. That conversation coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. The KW Symphony is back, and I do mean back in a pretty big way. We know that back in 2023, following the mess that was the pandemic and the havoc that it wreaked on so many organizations, businesses, I don't need to remind you of some of those dark days, but the KW Symphony had to file for bankruptcy. It led to a GoFundMe campaign where the musicians themselves were committed to ensuring the long-term success and viability of this, really what many will say, and I would agree with, critical piece of cultural infrastructure in our community. And that bankruptcy was annulled in 2024, and now the KW Symphony is on its way back to the tune of a $70,000 grant from the city of Kitchener, and that's just part of the organization's rebirth, if you will. Bill Poole is the board chair with the KW Symphony and joins us to talk more about it. Bill, thank you so much for making time for the show, and good morning.
Good morning, Mike. My pleasure to be with you.
In a nutshell, or how would you describe by way of overview where the symphony is at today compared to those dark days of 2023 when you had to declare bankruptcy?
Well, yes, night and day, and of course it was a previous board that declared bankruptcy, and so like after the musicians, as you said, digging in, raising money, putting on concerts that constituted the 23-24 season, 24-25 season. Then in this past year, the newly elected, or not so newly elected board, June 6, 2024, we put staffing in place to have the 25-26 season, and that was successful. And we've just now announced our 26-27 season, which is going to build on what we've done before. So I think we're in about as good a place as we could possibly be, given bankruptcy in September 2023, less than 3 years ago.
You mentioned since June of 2024, this new board of which you are the chair. And I remember talking to you at that time, Bill, as you looked to the future of this organization. Why was it important for you to see this organization through to where it's at today?
Well, for me personally, as you know, I've worked my whole, I'm retired now, but I worked my whole working life in arts management, Shaw Festival, National Ballet of Canada, National Ballet School, University of Waterloo, Clay and Glass Gallery. So culture is foundational to me as a person in the community. So the loss of the symphony such a big piece of the cultural infrastructure here in Waterloo region that, I just, when asked, said I'll help as much as I can, and I've been happy to do that.
How do we avoid a recurrence of what happened in 2023 when the previous board had to declare bankruptcy?
Well, there are many elements to that, and I did speak to that a week ago when I was asked by one of the councillors, Scott Davey, about that. But when this new board was elected in June 24, and it's few people have left and a few people have been added, but we made a commitment to ourselves and to anyone who asked, as you just have, we will not go down the deficit rabbit hole, which the KWS had and many other symphony orchestras have done in an effort to kind of maintain the number of concerts, etc. And we just won't do that. As I said to council a week ago, we will cut our coat according to our cloth. And we're absolutely committed as a board to that. And so I think that's the most important thing. We still want to be robust. We want to grow. We want to change. And we've hired a wonderful man named Jason Dole, who started in October as our executive director. Jason's building a wonderful, small, largely part-time staff, but really great people. We've had wonderful artistic leadership from Jamie Somerville to put together the last season and the one upcoming. So we're just going very step by step, not trying to get too big, too fast, and just but continuing to strengthen and grow and build the base upon which we can do more and more, but not too much.
It was at that council meeting that you referenced a week ago when you explained this very thing to Kitchener Council, that you're not going to go down that rabbit hole of deficits, that council in Kitchener also made that $70,000 grant to the KW Symphony. What does municipal funding like that mean to you as an organization?
Oh, it means a huge amount. As you know, orchestras in Canada and really can't exist, really can't function without a variety of support, including municipal support. And it's really important because the elected officials representing the citizens have to believe that the organization is important and worth supporting. And the mayor, and I'd say at the end of the council meeting, as it went around the horseshoe, I think I'm sure every council member spoke very positively and optimistically about the future. So municipal funding and at a more almost practical level, our support has been renewed at a good level by the Canada Council, $180,000. If we were operating in an environment where we weren't getting municipal support, the Canada Council would reconsider its support, I'm sure, because if the elected officials in the communities in which you perform, live, and exist isn't going to support you, why would a federal funding agency fund you? So it's all part of a kind of a package of resources that we need to attract, along with private sector donations and ticket sales to make it work on an ongoing basis.
You mentioned earlier, Bill, the concerts that these musicians continued to put on as it rebuilt. And of course, these concerts were happening at various venues. But we know for the 26-27 season, 5 performances are going to happen again at the Centre in the Square, which I think is an absolutely wonderful part of where the symphony is at right now. As you look ahead to the 26-27 season, what excites you the most?
Well, you've just picked on one of the real highlights. I think, and I have to say, we've had great support from Eric LaRiviere, who's the executive director of the Centre in the Square, Dan Carley, chair of the board, that they really have a really good relationship with the Centre in the Square now. I mean, the costs of performing there, because it's a major venue, are significant, but the fact that we're doing 5 concerts our 4 Masterworks concerts this year and the Holiday Pops is such a great indicator of the success that we've had, because it is where the orchestra should be playing, because the hall was built for the KW Symphony, as you know, and the main auditorium is Rafi Armenian Hall, former artistic director of the symphony, who basically, was front and center leading the charge in what the building had to look like and more importantly, what it had to sound like, which is, well recognized, being a wonderful hall acoustically. So that's where we should be, and we just have to assemble the resources and support to make that happen.
How is the symphony's fiscal position currently?
We're in good shape. We're in good shape. Our year end is July 31. So we'll begin the process in early September of having audited financial statements, but we will have a surplus this year over what was budgeted, which puts us in a strong position to go into 26, 27 with a really good budget. But we're not doing it on a wing and a prayer. We have we've budgeted carefully and cautiously and prudently, and of course, as we know, there are shocks to the system that no one can anticipate, like COVID, which changed everything, and we all hope nothing like that will happen. But we're in a really good place to stay on the right side in the black for 26, 27 and beyond. And that really is our commitment.
It's a great news story to hear, Bill, and it's in no small part to the work that you and your fellow board members have done. So kudos for that. And we really look forward to the 26-27 season. Thanks again for making time for the show this morning.
Okay, Mike, and thank you very much for your ongoing interest. We really appreciate that.
It's a pleasure on this end for sure. Be well, and we'll talk again soon.
You bet. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bill Poole is the chair of the KW Symphony Board. Last week at council, and was that not the kind of transparent interview that you would like to have with folks who are elected to office? Out of curiosity, it just struck me, how's the fiscal position today? Oh, well, we're going to report a surplus. The audited statements will be out the end of this month, et cetera, et cetera. But just straight up, here's where things are today. And by the way, we're not going to go down the rabbit hole of deficits. We're going to, cut cloth from the existing suit that we're wearing. That's like, I just found that rather refreshing, and I couldn't help but think, I always try to be an active listener to our guests on this show. And I just couldn't help but think, as Bill was talking, this is so refreshing to hear this kind of approach and this kind of candor. If anybody elected to office was listening, by all means, take some notes from Mr. Poole. Anyway, I think it's a really great story for the community. The KW Symphony is an institution. Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic described it as such, a key piece of our cultural infrastructure here in the community. And that's true, whether you attend the performances or not. But if you haven't, let me just say, and Bill talked about the center in the square being built for orchestral music, just like the symphony provides us. It is an incredible venue. If you've been there for any show, you know how acoustically sound the building is and what it offers to an audience. You only wish sometimes it was a little bit bigger, but that would change everything. Anyway, it's a great venue for our symphony orchestra, which is just a legacy piece in this community. And the work that this board has done since June of 2024 to surpass its fundraising goal, those concerts that were played in different venues around the community as the musicians themselves refused to let this symphony die. And here we are now coming up on the end of the fiscal year with a surplus reported, and the City of Kitchener at its meeting last week putting up a $70,000 municipal grant. Again, we can debate the merits of municipal funding for cultural institutions. And as was asked by Councillor Scott Davey at that same meeting, A couple of years ago, we realized that the symphony was not sustainable in and of itself. What has now changed? What is different today than in 2023? The shock of the pandemic, absolutely a part of it, but also a commitment now on the part of this board to not go down the deficit path and to remain within its means. I think the $70,000 grant is well warranted. It helps the symphony leverage other funding, because if your municipality believes in you, then other opportunities present themselves, and we all benefit from the work that the symphony does in our community, the performances it gives us, and maybe you'll be so inclined as to check out one of those performances in the upcoming season, 5 of which will be at that beautiful center in the square. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, is it the most Canadian way ever for a backyard pool to be destroyed? And really the most Canadian response? And all of this happens on the 250th birthday of the United States of America. A coincidence for sure, but probably the most Canadian way to have your backyard pool destroyed. I'll tell you the story coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. About 8 minutes away from 11 o'clock, your update then in the 570 News Center. This being Monday, a couple of regular features will follow. This Week in Music History with our good friend and musicologist Brian Allison just after the 11 a.m. news. And 30 minutes after that, so about 38 minutes from now, David Drew will be here with Drew's Views as we discuss the week's events in politics. Then noon to 1, our talkback hour will be filled today with the hottest of the hot chicken wings, because I must make good on my promise to you, which was if the Farwell for Hire 50-50 jackpot reached more than $150,000, I would don the jersey of the team that shall not be named and do our own version of the Hot Ones YouTube show, which is eating increasingly hot chicken wings while continuing to do the show. That happens today between noon and 1. I am still taking any and all suggestions for support in how I manage the heat, so to speak, because I don't do well with hot foods. Chris from Ginger Goat Hot Sauce will be here. He's the founder. Jay Taylor from Morty's Pub is bringing in the wings. And my friend Orest from Nickelbrook Brewing is bringing in some pairings. But there will be no alcohol consumed on the air. I promise you that. But Orest, I think, will be here for moral support. And he's going to bring some non-alcoholic beverages for me to maybe help wash down and extinguish the heat that will happen between noon and 1 today live during the show, because I promised, and you got that jackpot up to more than $186,000 last week. This might be the most Canadian way ever for a backyard pool to be destroyed. It happened in North Bay, so that might explain why this particular animal was so close to someone's backyard. But imagine being awoken around 4 o'clock in the morning this past Saturday, which was July the 4th, the birthday of the United States, wouldn't you know? But a couple in North Bay awakened at 4 in the morning by an awful racket and then a splash in their swimming pool. And they go outside to find a moose had fallen into their backyard pool after crashing through the fence. So that was the loud sound. And then the moose falls into the pool. And this is not the kind of moose that drives the bus for the Kitchener Rangers, okay?
Don't worry about it.
It's not that moose. We are worried about this moose. And this is the other Canadian part of the story, I think. So a moose crashes through your fence into your pool. It's in the deep end flailing away. And the owner of this home has the presence of mind to try to coax the moose to the shallow end of the pool because it can't get out from the deep end. It's flailing around so much. And he manages to do just that. Coax the moose into the shallow end of the pool where it can get some footing and finally pull itself out of the pool. you'd think that would be the end of it. But the poor moose was so disoriented, it got tangled up in another corner of the yard and kept crashing its poor body into that backyard fence in an attempt to escape, and ultimately ended up back in the swimming pool.
Don't worry about it.
We're still worried a little bit, Moose, that drives the bus for the Kitchener Rangers. This is a real moose in the backyard pool for the second time. And for a second time, the homeowner is able to coax the moose out of the pool. The Humane Society is called, and there is help on the way. The moose eventually makes its way back out through the hole in the fence that it had originally crashed through and back out into the wilderness with a lot of support and a lot of coaxing. But the backyard pool sustained significant damage in, as again, I would say, the most Canadian way ever. What happened to your pool? Well, a moose fell into it. Oh, yeah, and then, by the way, being the polite Canadian that I am, I coaxed the moose out of the pool and back to safety because, heaven forbid, the moose get hurt in the making of this story. A true story from North Bay. The most Canadian way a backyard pool has ever been destroyed. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night. I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do will make me feel alright. You know
I remember a time when I was a wee lad. Okay, not quite a wee lad. I was in my late teens. I got a job at a factory where I worked overnights on the weekends. Kind of prepared me, I think, for radio, because my first job in radio was overnights on the weekend. Anyway, I would listen to the radio while at work, and there was an all-request show on the station that we were listening to, and I called in and asked to have that song by the Beatles played for everyone else doing an all-night shift. I really don't know that it fits necessarily what I was going for, but I was younger, and that was my thought at the time. And I got the song played, and the DJ said that Mike wanted to send it out to all of the other people working night shifts, and that makes you feel kind of special, doesn't it? That's what this weekly segment is all about. It's a trip down a musical memory lane, bringing up memories for us about when we first heard the song, how much we like that band or that particular piece of music, whatever it is. It's called This Week in Music History. We are led on the journey every week by musicologist Brian Allison. And don't forget, please, about Brian's Facebook page of the same name, This Week in Music History, where you will find the tidbits we discuss here on the show and lots more. This Week in Music History on Facebook and right here on the show every Monday morning at 11. Good morning, musicologist Brian Allison.
Hi, Mike.
How's things, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you? Are you preparing for your hot wing feast?
I'm eating a little bit of yogurt now. Is that the right thing to do? A little bit of a buffer for all the heat? I have no idea.
I think you'll need it more during and after.
All right, I'm going to save some for later, I promise. We started the show with the Beatles this morning. We haven't done a Beatles story in a while, so why don't we start right there? Why, Brian, did we start with A Hard Day's Night today?
Well, because they're the Beatles, for one thing. Because today in music history, July 6th, we go way back to 1964, Beatles mockumentary, A Hard Day's Night, premiered in London at the Pavilion Theatre. So this is a picture directed by Dick Lester, who had also directed John, or would direct John in a film later on, How I Won the War. And it was really in the middle and at the height of Beatlemania. I mean, the Beatles were just taking off globally in 1964. They were on everybody's minds. So they decided they would do sort of this scripted musical comedy, which kind of followed them for 36 hours in the lives of the four band members. And it was a pretty low budget, short production time. They turned it around in about, I think, less than 3 weeks from start to finish. And it became a massive success, critically and commercially. Long considered to be one of the most influential musical films of all time. It would inspire all kinds of other projects by all kinds of other bands and set a new stage for the production style of that fast-paced editing from one situation to the other. And then, of course, a soundtrack to follow, which became the Beatles' third album, and did very, very well for them. And it was a fantastic film. I'm not sure why they call it a mockumentary, because it was a film about the Beatles and was fairly accurate to what their lives were like at the time. So I don't know if I agree with the term mockumentary, but it was certainly a great film.
And a great song, for sure. Like one of three that you usually give me by way of options to start the segment every week, and I chose A Hard Day's Night. I could have chosen Baker Street, and the only reason I didn't is because on one of our recent All Request Fridays, when we did Streets, Roads, and Avenues as a theme, Baker Street was the song I started with. So I didn't want to seem like I was being too biased in favor of that Jerry Rafferty tune. But it comes up this week in music history, July 8th, 1978.
Yes, go way back to 1978. So City to City was the album that Jerry Rafferty released. And it had the honor of being the sole title to break Saturday Night Fever's seemingly unstoppable 24-week run at the top of the U.S. album chart. So Saturday Night Fever had been poised there since pretty much the start of the year, held the number one spot week after week after week after week. And finally, Jerry Rafferty releases City to City. And on the strength of Baker Street and other songs on the album, Right Down the Line is another great song from that record, it took the number one spot on the album chart and knocked Saturday Night Fever out. Finally, and I know a lot of people were relieved, saying, "Yeah, well, at this point they'd had a lot of Bee Gees music coming from radio, so it was nice to hear something different occupy that top spot." Some cool trivia about it is, of course, that famous sax riff, which was played by session musician Raphael Ravenscroft. That almost wasn't included. Rafferty originally wanted something very different for the song Baker Street, and was considering other instrumentation to build this song around. And then Raphael Ravenscroft came in as a session musician, and he improvised this now famous saxophone hook, which became iconic, of course. It's probably one of the best-known saxophone riffs. Now, there's a job for you for a Friday show, Mike. Songs with famous saxophone riffs. That would be a good one.
Ooh, you know what? Are you going to make me... I already had my theme in mind, but you might be onto something there. Good sax riffs and a bunch of songs.
There's just some really good ones, and you'll get people thinking about it. The cool thing I always thought about Baker Street is that Raphael Ravenscroft never liked his performance on that song. He was interviewed many times and said he felt he played flat while he was playing the riff, his words, and wasn't really proud of it. But it became iconic.
As I mentioned, Baker Street was part of our All Request Friday theme, Streets, Roads, and Avenues, a couple of weeks ago. I'll let you know before 11:30 when Brian and I wrap up this morning what your theme will be for All Request Friday this week, and you can start getting those requests in early. Okay, from 78 to 84, and I don't know that albums get much bigger than this one on This Week in Music History, Brian, but July 7th, 84, The Boss.
Springsteen. I mean, yeah, it really didn't get much bigger than this in terms of albums, or for Bruce Springsteen, as a matter of fact. I mean, he's been around since the very early 70s and has made some legendary albums. But, I mean, Born to Run, or Born in the USA, just became so massive. So it was July 7th, 84, that it began a 7-week run at the top of the Billboard 200. And it would also hit number one in the UK, in Australia, in Canada, many other countries as well, and would become clearly his most successful and best-selling LP to date. Even though he made some other great records, nothing really topped Born in the USA. And it had a 143-week stay on the Billboard chart, 7 top 10 singles from a single album. You got Dancing in the Dark and I'm on Fire. You got the title track. You've got Glory Days. I mean, fantastic songs. There's only 2 other albums in history that have charted 7 top 10 U.S. singles from the same record. Any guesses at what those other 2 records might be?
Oh,
This is in good company.
Oh, dear. Michael Jackson's got to be. It was Thriller?
I'll give you a hint. They were siblings, and Michael Jackson is the number one. So who's got the other one?
Janet.
It's Janet. Rhythm Nation 1814 also had seven top 10 singles from a single album, which is just an incredible accomplishment. So hats off to Bruce Springsteen, and still a great listen to this day.
Oddly enough, Janet was the first name that came to mind because I remember talking about it some time ago. And then I was thinking Whitney Houston, but she had consecutive number ones, I believe, and she holds the record for that, like from different albums or from different releases, as opposed to 7 hits from one album, the most consecutive number one hits.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So just some great legacies there for sure. But in this day, on July 7th, we celebrate Born in the USA.
All right, July 9th, 1995, and the Grateful Dead, I guess, well, in part live up to the name. Is that unfair, unkind, too soon to say?
I see where you're going here. Yeah, it was July 9th, 95, where the Grateful Dead gave their last concert with Jerry Garcia at Chicago Soldier Field. And Jerry would pass away a short time after, about a month later, from a heart attack while he was in a rehab facility. So, sad day for the Grateful Dead, certainly for Deadhead. They mourn the loss of Jerry to this day, and the Grateful Dead have gone on and continued to play. But many hardcore fans will say, "Nah, the Grateful Dead without Jerry Bear." So there you go. The cool thing I always loved about the Grateful Dead, they played 2,300 live shows over the course of their career. That's an incredible amount of live shows. No two shows were ever alike. And they pioneered the modern taper section. So where many other bands, relentlessly fought against people bootlegging their live shows, the Grateful Dead embraced that. And they actually created spots at the front of the auditoriums where they were playing, right near the soundboard, where fans could come in with their tape recorders and tape the live show. And then the fans would share the tape. And this became a huge trading community where, everybody was after the latest Grateful Dead show. Who's got the best recorded version of it? Pretty cool thing to do, I thought.
I love it. And why not lean into something like that, right?
Well, it was the hippie generation initially, and they came from that. Music is free, love is free, all of these things should just be accessible if you want them. So, yeah, Dead fans ate it up. I knew a couple of guys who collected Grateful Dead tapes, and it is a massive community out there of people trading those tapes to this day.
Brian Allison is a good friend of the show and our resident musicologist. He joins us every Monday morning at 11 for a trip down a musical memory lane with This Week in Music History, from the final show by the Grateful Dead to another final show, and much more recently. We'll get to that and more as we continue This Week in Music History on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. If it's Monday morning at this time, we must be in conversation with musicologist Brian Allison, who joins us Mondays at 11 for This Week in Music History. Don't forget the Facebook page of the same name, This Week in Music History. Brian operates that, and you'll get these tidbits and lots more when you visit This Week in Music History on Facebook. Let's fast forward to almost the end of the previous century, Brian. 1999, July the 11th, and the first Puerto Rican to top the UK pop charts.
Wow, and what a topping this was. Yeah, Ricky Martin became the first Puerto Rican artist to top the UK pop chart with, of course, Livin' La Vida Loca. That song you could just not get away from in 1999. It was everywhere. Dominated the global airways, hit number one in 20 countries, including the USA, where it spent 5 weeks in the top spot. Canada, where it remained in the top spot for 8 weeks. Again, you just couldn't escape that song in 1999. And in addition to becoming one of the biggest hits of the decade, Livin' La Vida Loca was instrumental in helping Latin music cross over to the mainstream. So you saw a lot of other Latin artists coming out around that time in the wake of Ricky Martin's success. Some cool trivia. I mean, Ricky Martin, some people know, he began his music career in 1984 at the age of 12 with Puerto Rican boy band Menudo. And he stayed with the band until 1989. Initially, he left the music business to focus on a career as a professional tennis player. Then he returned to music, and since then, he's become one of the best-selling Latin music artists in history. Tens of millions of records sold worldwide. many of them on the heels of Livin' La Vida Loca, which was just a massive song. So hats off to Ricky Martin.
Yeah, he made a huge splash with that song in 99. No question about it. Okay, this week in 2019, July the 10th to be exact, and I guess some people love Bob Dylan and other people really love Bob Dylan.
Well, this guy clearly loves Bob Dylan. So it was July 10th, 2019. Bob Dylan's superfan, a fellow named Bill Pagel, purchased the Ultimate Rock collectible. He bought the Hibbing, Minnesota house where Bob Dylan lived from 1948 to 1959. Little 1,600 square foot home. It had been owned by Greg and Donna French, who had lived there since 1990, and he bought it for $84,000. Now, Pagel, he was a retired pharmacist in his late 70s, but he has run Bob Dylan's essential fan website, boblinks.com, since 1995. And this was part of the appeal of that, is that he was going to be broadcasting his website right out of a home that was owned by Bob Dylan at one point. So, yeah, would you put out a good chunk of money to own one of your heroes' homes, Mike? If Geddy Lee's childhood home came on the market, would you consider buying it?
I don't think in the housing market in Canada I could afford it, Brian, but probably not. It'd be pretty cool to tour through if somebody would open it up for me.
This is it. I mean, for $84,000, I'm like, really? In 2019 they sold a house in Hibbing, Minnesota for $84,000. Well, that's a pretty good deal, even if it isn't Bob Dylan's childhood home, but still pretty cool.
Absolutely. Okay, I mentioned when you talked about the Grateful Dead this week in music history back in 95, it was the final concert with Jerry Garcia at the helm, and then you fast forward to 2025, so just a year ago this week on July the 5th, the final live show from Ozzy.
Yeah, happy, sad, right? I remember watching that event and thinking, oh, this is so great. And knowing that, probably Ozzy's days were numbered. He played the show, which took place at Villa Park in Birmingham, which is where Black Sabbath came from, was billed at back to the beginning. And Ozzy played the show seated in a black throne because he had Parkinson's disease, of course, and, he just wasn't doing particularly well. But an in-audience crowd of 40,000 people, and live streaming to 5.8 million people. So a lot of people watching the show. All the proceeds were donated to the Cure Parkinson's Trust, Birmingham Children's Hospital, and Acorn Children's Hospital, which I thought was fantastic too. And then, just 17 days later, Ozzy's gone. July 22nd, 2025. He's gone at the age of 76. So what an incredible show to go back and review now, knowing that, we weren't going to have Ozzy much longer. And it's only been a year now that we lost him, and it still stings for a lot of people. He was an incredible artist, Black Sabbath, and Blizzard of Oz, and his solo work are an amazing legacy of music. We really miss Ozzy. But it was this show, Back to the Beginning, that took place last year at this time.
Yeah, and you talk about that legacy that he left behind. I mean, I remember the day after on this show how we all reminisced, and I found it fascinating. From you talk about Black Sabbath, the great urban legend that he bit the head off a bat during a show. Get to the Osbournes TV show. The guy almost reinvented himself later in life, but he was absolutely beloved, I would say.
This is the thing. I mean, you can talk about the controversy, the alcoholism, the drugs, the arrest, not an urban legend at all. He did bite the head off the bat. That actually happened. And the dove. I mean, those are both stories that are verified. But beyond all that, he really was. You just nailed it perfectly. He was a lovable guy. People really liked Ozzy. They gravitated towards him. He had an amazing sense of humor. And it's sad that he's no longer with us. We miss him.
I thought it was a toy bat. That's why I got stuck in my head. It was a real bat, eh?
No, he thought it was a toy bat.
That's how it goes. Okay, there you go. See, this is why I rely on you.
Somebody threw a bat on the stage during a show, and he thought it was one of these rubber bats.
Yeah.
Picked it up and bit the head off of it. And while he was biting the head off it, the bat bit him on the inside of his mouth. So Ozzy had to go and get a series of rabies shots because this bat bit him. But yeah, that was a real bat. That's a true story. That actually happened in front of an audience.
A year ago this week, we lose them, and we still remember. As you said, it still stings for some. Always love the chats, Brian. Looking forward to next week.
All right, me too, Mike. Good luck with the Wings today.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye. Brian Allison, musicologist, joins us Monday mornings, 11 a.m. for This Week in Music History. Don't forget his Facebook page. Same name, This Week in Music History. You'll find all the tidbits written down there for your reading enjoyment. But Brian joins us and talks about some of these memorable moments in music history every Monday morning at 11 here on the show. One of the segments we highlighted, or artists we highlighted, was Jerry Rafferty and the Baker Street song, which of course has an incredible, memorable sax riff in it. I had a different idea, but I'm just going to go spontaneously with what Brian suggested. You could choose Baker Street if you wanted to, but our theme this week for All Request Friday is going to be songs with great sax parts. It doesn't have to be a sax solo. If it's got a good sax riff in it, or the saxophone is featured in some way and you like the sound of that sax, that is your All Request Friday theme. So drop me an email, mike@570news.com, or give us a call. Let Marshall know. He's answering the phones on the other side of the glass today. Let him know what song you want to hear for All Request Friday. The sound of the sax is your theme. An update from the 570 News Center is coming up. And then Monday mornings, 11:30, David Drew will join us with Drew's Views next on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
TV. Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Has anybody heard from Crazy Dave? Now, that cat couldn't spell to win a bet, but he carried this battered notebook full of his poetry. More soul per square word than the Lord's Prayer. He was the kind of guy that called a spade a shovel, and a violin a fiddle, and a lady ma'am. And I don't even know why I think of him now. Maybe because he never told me a lie he'd have to apologize for later. Because he'd speak to a guy straight, eyeball to bloodshot eyeball, like he'd never even had a secret.
David Drew is our good friend who joins the show on Monday mornings at 11:30 to share with us his views. It's Drew's Views. And as much as we'd like to think that spoken word performance by Scott Wicken was about David Drew, it wasn't, but it fits.
It works.
You've never told me a lie that you'd have to apologize for later. Not on purpose.
No, honestly, my general thing is, you may have noticed this about me and I may have mentioned it, but I am total ADHD. Attention deficit is the key part of it here. I can't keep track of what I've said. I can't lie, because I would just start contradicting myself and not being able to keep up with it. So as long as I tell the truth, I don't really have to worry about what I'm saying. So I try not to lie but every now and then somebody asks you a question. It's like, well, would you jump into the river to save the baby? Well, of course I would, Mike. Whereas that day it's like, I don't know. It looks kind of cold in that water. I don't know.
Always a good reminder that David might be enjoyed a second time via the podcast or the online archive, because he doesn't know what's about to come out of his mouth every Monday morning at this time.
Well, we send vague notes.
Yes.
I send you vague notes. Today, I don't think I even asked you if you had any questions about them.
No.
But sometimes you ask me questions based on those notes, and I have no idea where your question came from. So, yes, I do not know what is going to come out of my mouth.
What we do know is that David owns and operates negotiating change, government relations, and stakeholder engagement strategies, and he spent considerable time in the hallowed halls of Parliament working as a staffer with Harold Albrecht.
Harold Albrecht I saw yesterday.
Oh, how is he doing?
He and his wife, Darlene, were just wandering by the street by my house. I'm on the phone with my wife, who is at the cottage, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. Harold and Darlene are walking by. And they looked up at me and they're like, David? So they got to see the house and meet Lucy and had the quick chat. But yeah, it was really, really cool. It's the first accidental drop by we've had at the new place, because seriously, most of our social circles don't just happen to be wandering by Wellesley Village.
There you go. Harold was the MP for Kitchener-Conestoga. David was a staffer within that Conservative Party, which I might argue is a different Conservative Party than the party that we have today.
I don't think any party of the big names, other than the Greens,
Fair.
it's still Elizabeth May. But yeah, Abby Lewis's NDP versus Jagmeet Singh's or Tom Mulcair's. Mark Carney's.
Not even Jack Layton's?
Or Jack Layton's.
Going that far back, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Carney's versus Justin Trudeau's.
Not even close.
Yeah, like none of the parties are what they were. And that's not a bad thing. It leaves things for people like me who are more ideologues than partisans. It leaves a problem for me because I still have my beliefs, but I don't know where I go right now.
Right. Where do you plant those beliefs? Okay, let's get into your, again, vague notes where artificial intelligence creates for us a hero who agrees with Maude Barlow. And every time I see the name Maude Barlow, I think of the TV show Maude and B. Arthur. So help me out, Mr. ADHD.
Okay, so it was actually Naomi Klein. It was Maude Barlow who shared the post that brought it to my attention. But Naomi Klein and I are actually in full agreement about AI. She has this amazing quote, and it is, stupid phone, you ingested the entire written output of human civilization without consent, without compensation, and without credit to build a system whose primary commercial application is eliminating the jobs of the people whose work you consumed. You are not liberating human creativity. You are strip mining it and sending it back at a markup while calling the theft trading data.
I absolutely love that. And I think I just became a bigger fan of the Canadian author, Naomi Klein.
Yes, that's just it. It's my friend who's the MPP for Sudbury, Jamie West. He retweeted Maude Barlow, so that's how it reached my attention. I don't only follow conservatives.
Yeah, that's right. Jamie is NDP, is he not?
Yeah. We went to high school together. He was president of Sudbury and District Labour Council, just like my cousin Don Moran had been before. So yeah, like we still keep in touch in a lot of ways. He reminds me of Harold. He's a very respectful person. He criticizes the idea, not the person presenting the idea. The kind of person we want more of in politics, even if you disagree with them. But yeah, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because I still think, AI is something we got to deal with whether we like it or we don't. So I don't want to say these are the reasons we should duck our heads in the sand, but anybody who's positioning this as a virtuous thing, just slap them with a fish because they're trying to pull one over on you.
I will carry a fish with me at all times, just in case I need to slap somebody.
AI is a necessary evil that we have to buy into, not something that is going to make it better for us.
I love when your notes include the names of people because I feel like I'm fairly engaged politically. And I have no idea who this person is, was, or could be. Rob Surjanic. Rob Surjanic is who? Why should I care about him?
Well, he just withdrew from the Ontario Liberal leadership race.
He was in it?
He was in it.
Okay.
He's a sitting member of their caucus, apparently. So yeah, I just saw this note saying that he was pulling out. And I'm like, to be honest.
There's only like 8 Liberal MPPs. Like, how can I not know one of them? That's crazy.
No, but honestly, they get no play at all.
Sure.
They get no question period time. They get no. So it's really hard for somebody without official party status from the other side of Toronto to crack through our consciousness. They don't even have a leader to crack through to our consciousness right now. So how some backbench are going to do it? So,
right. So he was in the race. Now he's out of the race to become the next Ontario Liberal leader.
Yeah, just like Nate Erskine-Smith, except we knew who he was because he's started running and lost a lot of races. So you know what I mean? Like he was this household name for, it was like Gerard Kennedy was for a while, or who's the mayor of Winnipeg who ended up being a Liberal cabinet minister here in Ontario, Glenn Murray.
Thank you.
And then he ran for Green Party leadership, either provincially or federally. Like there's just these people out there who want to see their names on ballots. People locally who ran for the NDP, then screwed up our school board and now want to run for Waterloo City Council. There's these people who just are addicted to having their names on ballots.
Please keep the city of Waterloo scot-free in this October's election. Please remember to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anyway.
Lest we get a city as screwed up as the school board.
So let's just say his name together one more time so that hopefully somebody will remember him. Rob Surjanic.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks for your efforts, Rob. Why don't they just give the job to John Fraser?
I'm not sure he wants it.
Well, he's had it for how long now as interim? Just let him keep it.
No, but I think that's just it. I think he's like a Ronna Ambrose who's like, I am willing to serve knowing I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But you want me to make the untethered commitment? Because the nice thing about being interim leader is nobody has the knives out for you. As soon as you are the real leader, well, then you're making decisions that last, that are going to have winners and losers. And somebody's going to start looking past you to be the next one.
All right.
It's a different job being interim.
What is your latest indication that the U.S. ambassador to Canada knows not of the country to which he is ambassador?
And this isn't really picking on him. This is picking on us. He wants, it was specifically Tennessee whiskey, back on the shelves by next year. It came out on the weekend in one of his comments. And all I could think is, man, we can't get New Brunswick whiskey in Ontario. Like, you think the problem is America? We can't do that for ourselves. Like, generally speaking, we treat you better than we treat fellow provinces. Yeah, in theory, this is possible, but the way you're saying, oh, it's just going to happen like this, is you don't understand how broken our country is. Like, we are literally, until Donald Trump ruined the relationship, it was easier for us to get our sour mash out of Kentucky or Tennessee than it was to get anything equivalent from in Canada. And it's not because we don't make it, but it's because the systems are so hard to crack through when you're crossing borders. And in theory, I think it's only Manitoba where you are allowed to order a box of wine from an out-of-province winery or beer store. The rest of them, you are breaking the law in some fashion. In some cases, it's jail time. Like, I'm sorry, Ambassador, when you talk about wanting your booze on the shelves, just get in line. Get in line. This isn't a criticism of you. This is a criticism of us. Because I remember, wasn't Mark Carney going to end all these interprovincial trade barriers?
Yes, by July 1st of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. And again, this is like Trudeau and drinking water. I don't hate the fact that he didn't keep the promise. I hate the fact that he made such a stupid, impossible promise to keep.
Oh, Pete Hoekstra, what would we do without you? By the way, you say Tennessee whiskey. I can't help but think of the great Danny Michel tune, Tennessee Tobacco.
Oh.
I love that one. Check it out.
I love
Local
your
artist.
Dusty Pews and Creaky Floors.
Yes, that's exactly the one.
Yes, and there's a few different versions of that you can find online. He's got very different interpretations of that song to listen to. Some of them are almost full band. Some of them are just him solo acoustic. Some of them are live with a good little groove going behind him. Like, Danny Michel is one of those artists you can go see every year. And even if he did do the exact same set list, you would never see the same concert twice.
That I can attest to because I've seen him multiple times.
Yes.
But interesting. I'm going to look up because I love Tennessee Tobacco as a song. I'll find some of those online.
The other
versions.
one to do that with is Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. There's a couple different live versions out there of that are just great little groove tracks.
You see, we can distract David Drew with a shiny object or a reference to a local musician.
I had no idea Danny Michel was going to come up today. No idea what's going to come out of my mouth, Mike.
Dude Duford will come out of David's mouth momentarily. And let's talk pipelines. And who is profiting from this anyway? David Drew is here for Drew's Views, as he is every Monday morning at 11:30. And we continue on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Have an opinion? Call now.
519-570-2545.
1-800-570-5715.
And star 570.
The Mike Farwell Show continues in a moment.
On 570 News Radio.
Monday mornings, 11:30. David Drew, former staffer with Harold Albrecht, our former Conservative MP for Kitchener-Conestoga, and now the owner-operator of Negotiating Change, Government Relations, Stakeholder Engagement Strategies. David joins us for Drew's Views on Monday morning at this time to share his views on all things political. And I am going to steal from you, David Drew, Dude Dudeford. Because by Dudeford, you mean Brad Bradford, the mayoral wannabe in Toronto. Why has the dude named Brad Bradford got your goat today?
Well, Toronto City Council got my goat a couple of years ago when they renamed Dundas Square to Sankofa Square based on a very limited understanding of Dundas. And they changed it to Sankofa Square, which apparently is a separate issue. People are upset about it being called Sankofa Square for some reason. I really have no skin in that part of the game. So that's why Dudeford's suggestion last week that he was going to rename Sankofa Square Toronto Square, I just thought this is the most Dudeford solution to a nothing. Like, okay, so people are cheesed because it's called Sankofa Square, so you might be appeasing some people over there. But most of the people who are really upset and are accessible about this as voters are people who are just like, no, it was Dundas Square. There was nothing wrong with that. It's been there all the time. So now you're going to change it to Toronto Square? How many more addresses have to change? Blah, 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 and we still aren't calling it Dundas Square. We're still pretending that one of our heroes is a war criminal of some sort. So it was like, there was this other part of the announcement that I'm sure Torontonians would actually care a lot more about, where he said he was going to clean up Sankofa Square. Why didn't he just leave it there? Why didn't he just leave it there? Because who does not want a cleaner public space? You know, if I was to run for mayor of Waterloo, and all of a sudden I started talking about running on cleaning up Waterloo Public Square in front of Waterloo, people might not think it's that bad, but nobody's going to sit there and go, no, I'm in favor of a messier public space. If he just said we're going to clean up Sankofa Square, it would have been a good news announcement and fairly bulletproof. But instead, he went for this renaming where he's pleased next to nobody and made everybody wonder if he has a spine.
I'm surprised the idea was not to go back to young Dundas. For starters, the other thing, I've heard some criticism because apparently when the council decision came up, Brad Bradford or Dudeford was one of those councillors who voted in favor of the name change to Sankofa Square.
That's my understanding as well.
That doesn't bother me a whole lot. That was 2023. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to have a change of heart. That doesn't bother me a ton. But the big thing for me is, what is the political capital in this? This is the issue you're going to put your flag in the sand on to win the mayoral race? I don't get it.
Well, that's just it. Like, if you're going to put your flag in the sand on that, put it on the side of history, not on the side of getting rid of the word Sankofa. Because, I'm sorry, this is me going out on a limb, but wanting to change it from Sankofa to Toronto just really sounds like you're uncomfortable with the word Sankofa for some reason, because it's, unfamiliar or black. I don't want to, say that it comes across as racist, but it does.
Really?
Yeah, just because you want to get rid of what is the problem with Sankofa?
It's not young Dundas.
So why not change it to young Dundas?
That's not Toronto.
No, but why would anybody want to call it Toronto Square? Do you think there's anybody out there who's going, well, it's about time we called it Toronto Square, gosh darn it? No.
Everything should just be numbered from now on. Call it 6 Square.
That's what we're going to have to do with our schools.
Exactly. Okay, the pipeline. I'm more than anything, I want to know if you think this is going to keep Alberta in Canada, but what's your latest take on the memorandum of understanding and the work? Look, I've heard time and again, if we don't get private money into this, it's over anyway.
And it sounds like we have 10% private money in. And Pembina Pipeline Corporation, not to be confused with the Pembina Institute, which is an environmental anti-pipeline group out of Alberta. But Pembina Pipeline is in for 10% and an option to buy in for another 10%. The rest of the money is coming from federal and provincial governments via some funding. So I'm sure there's going to be some First Nations who are going to have an ownership stake, but they're not paying for it. It's going to be the provincial or the federal governments or some combination thereof. Danielle Smith says, well, given what's happened, if you are a company that wants to build a pipeline, you've seen Energy East. You've seen Trans Mountain. You've seen Keystone. You've lost literally tens of billions of dollars on these already, and we're still not anywhere near in the process the point where those things hit the delays. Like, there's no permit sent out yet. All those other ones had all the permits in place before they got blocked and slowed down. So we're still not at the place where the private sector can actually sit there and say, we have reason to trust this system. So Danielle Smith says, yes, as we get further along and demonstrate capability, then the private sector is going to be buying in. But first, we have to demonstrate that there is a course to get something built in this country. But what I really want to come back to is there was all these goodies for Alberta. There was all these goodies for BC, just so we could put another pipe right next to the one we have in place. And it took us 15 months. Like, for this solution, where you just bribe a couple of the participants at the table and go along a route where you've already got all the approvals in place and willing audiences and communities, like, we could have started on this a year ago for what we got. And that's the only problem. I shouldn't say the only. Like, there is a lack of ambition. We need a northern pipe. We do need that. Now, Churchill may become that destination because apparently the German submarines that we're looking at purchasing are going to require a port there. So if we're going to have a port capable of year-round traffic, that might be a great route in the future to get a pipeline to the north. But for what we're getting here, yay, it's not great more market diversification, but it's better than another pipeline to the U.S.
Leave it to Canada to move incredibly slowly on anything even remotely important.
And that's just it. If you were to talk to Ned Nenshi, he would be the first one to tell you, and it's not just the dirty projects. Like, we can't get stormwater ponds approved. Sure. We can't get reservoirs approved. We cannot get upgrades approved to wastewater systems. It's not just the dirty things that everybody wants. No more mines because they're ugly. No more open pit oil sands because they're destructive. No. Water reclamation projects are being stalled just as much. So let's not call this a win for the environment.
All right. Well,
Stephen Guilbeault would agree with me on that, by the way, and has said it on the record.
We will get the take on whether or not this saves Alberta or saved Canada from losing Alberta at another time, because we're out of time for today. But as always, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
David Drew joins us Monday mornings, 11:30.
Enjoy your wings.
I will not. For Drew's views on the Mike Farwell Show. I'm eating the wings, all of them. Hot as Hades coming up. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, the moment of truth has arrived, and a promise is a promise, and so we will follow through on the promises that we make, or at least I will. The promise I made to you was, should our Farwell for Hire 50-50 jackpot reach $150,000, I would eat consecutive, I think we're going to do 8 chicken wings of increasing heat intensity, thanks to my buddy, and I use that term loosely, Chris Ronan, the founder of Ginger Goat Hot Sauces. And to just add another twist to it, because you know how much I dislike the team that shall not be named, I will wear the jersey of that team that shall not be named while I eat these hot wings. The jackpot got over $150,000, reaching $186,000. So it's time to make good on that promise. And here we are. Just for those of you listening on the radio only and not watching on Rogers TV Cable 20, I am wearing said jersey now, I promise. And I have witnesses to attest to that fact. One of those is my good friend. This guy always steps up for me. He doesn't put me in pain. Jay Taylor, co-owner at Morty's Pub. Hello, Jay.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for being here. I asked if you would coat these chicken wings for me in some sort of anti-hot sauce lubricant. Any luck on that?
You know, I did my best. I did my best. And, I think you're going to enjoy this.
Okay. You think I am? You're going to enjoy this.
I know I am.
Yeah, okay. You're wearing a very nice Morty's Pub ball jersey. I like that.
Yeah, it's a vintage ball shirt.
I like that.
And I'm really happy that I can still fit in it after 25 years.
Attaboy. Okay, and you can attest, Jay, to the jersey that I am wearing. Please don't mention the team's name.
No.
Okay, but I am wearing that ugly jersey.
You are,
okay.
And I'm not happy with that.
You and I share our fandom of the Leafs, don't we?
We do.
Good man. Good man. That's why we get along. Okay, Chris, I'm going to ask you to shift a little bit to your right and bring that microphone with you. Thank you. Just for the camera, we don't want to get the back of your head, which is perfect. Chris Ronan, founder of Ginger Goat Hot Sauces. Hello.
How you doing, brother?
Well, so here's how this went down. I sent Chris a text. I'm like, hey, will you help me do the Hot Ones challenge on the air? And your response, Chris, was?
I thought you would never ask, because we do have some history with this, where, for folks that don't know, we launched the company in 2021 in the middle of a pandemic. And if my memory serves me correctly, we were at what was the Rich Uncle at the time doing a thing with the Chamber of Commerce, an online cooking class, where we announced that we were going to be on Hot Ones. So you've kind of been around with this from the beginning. But the one thing that's remained consistent with, as well as you've supported us, is your inability to ever eat hot sauce with me. So I did think you would never ask, and I'm very excited to be here with you.
I love the backstory there. And yes, Ginger Goat is one of my favorite local success stories. We've got Justine Fraser in here. I'm going to just direct on the air, and forgive me for this. But before we get into the wings, I completely forgot two things. One is a plate. There's some in the kitchen, and some paper towel to go with the mess that this is definitely going to make. If you don't mind, Justine's going to do that. And bring in Orist while you're out there. We're just going to do it. Orist just got here. He's a sales rep with Nickelbrook Brewing. He promised me some pairings to go with this. I'm not going to drink any alcohol on the air. There will be no booze consumed. And for some reason, he's got an Ottawa Senators jersey. I have no idea why. Okay, so I did. Jay, do you have any idea how this Hot Ones thing goes?
I do.
Okay. What am I in for here?
Well, I think you're in for a gradual, fiery treat.
You remember last year you brought me, what's the hottest sauce that you make at Morty's?
We call it soupy sauce.
Soupy sauce.
So my great business partner, Steve Campbell, Soupy Campbell, he grows his own peppers and makes his own sauce, and let me tell you, that has a real following. It's tasty and spicy, and it only comes out a couple times a year, and Soupy does a great job with it.
It's one of my favorites, for sure.
Yeah, I know Chris, I was going to say, is so knowledgeable and knows so many things about not only his own sauces, of course, but all these other sauces. So it's quite entertaining as someone who just watches Chris perform many times at Morty's, doing some corporate events. I think we're in for a treat. I think the listeners are going to really enjoy it, and the viewers are going to enjoy it even more, watching your face get redder and redder.
I brought in I got some paper towels for my fingers and whatnot, but I brought in a full-on beach towel because I'm going to be sweating from every pore. I know it. And this is my beloved's hockey jersey, and she swore if I get any sauce on the jersey, so it's like a bib / drying towel. If you guys don't mind, can you put on the headphones that you've got right in front of your microphones there, and there's a little knob on the box that it attaches to that'll turn up the volume for you, because we will keep this open and interactive with our callers here today, and I want you to be able to hear them. So let's just go to Walter here. I'm sure he's really looking forward to me suffering today. Hi, Walter.
Yes, you are correct. So, I was kind of disappointed when I heard you say that you're wearing your wife's actual jersey, that you're so stingy you wouldn't even go out and buy one.
I'm not spending money on this hockey team. Forget that. And yes, I am cheap, thank you. Jay brings me free wings. I mean, what do you want me to do? Pay for something?
Well, I thought you were going to really mess up the shirt by, wiping off your mouth and whatever other liquids that are going to come out of you during this. So, I'm just on my way home from up north there, Mike, and I'm in range now, so I thought I'd tune in, and I couldn't have picked a better day, buddy. So congratulations on hitting your target, and I look forward to talking to you again in the future, buddy.
Thanks, Walter. I appreciate that. I look forward to talking in the future. Chris, I watched some of the Hot Ones videos. Most people that I saw could still talk, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much going to be a journey, as Jay kind of alluded to. So what I've assembled here is a grouping of sauces that are going to go from something mild to literally one of the hottest peppers, the hottest pepper in the world towards the end.
Jiminy Christmas.
And we talked about this. We are friends. We had a little pre-call on Thursday there, and I asked you, like, how bad do you want to go? And you said, open it up. I want the full experience. And who am I to deny you and not bring the heat?
That's fair. Okay. And by the way, just showing again that Jay is a guy that is actually a friend. He brought me sour cream. Jay, such a good man. Rules on this, from what I saw, one bite?
I mean, it's open. So as the show per the rules, there are no rules. You can tap out whenever you want. You can eat the full
I was going to ask that
wing.
question too.
You can do whatever it is that you want, but if you are going to tap out, I ask that you let me know in advance, because that way I'll just jump to one of the hottest sauces right away.
Okay. I don't even want to know what might be happening to me as I decide to tap out part way. But I am allowed, though. There's a wimp clause embedded in this.
There is. So we're going to dose these wings well for you. The objective here is to have fun, right?
Fun for who?
Well, fun for the listeners, absolutely. Fun for the people that contributed to the great 50/50 and the great work that you do. And most importantly, fun for everybody here in the studio, but you, I think.
I think that's probably the case. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Jay has brought the wings that you have there. They are naked wings, and you will sauce them up. So what's the best way to do this? Do you want me to hand one over, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, so I don't want to handle your wings.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I've got some tasting sticks here. So how about I throw a good dose on a tasting stick? You can slather that wing as you see fit, and away we go.
Okay. Orest Pollock has joined us in studio. Orest is a sales representative with Nickelbrook Brewing. Yeah, take the beer off the seat. Pull up a chair, young man.
It's not just beer. We have non-alcoholic
That's
stuff.
I had to make this very clear. Orest was going to get me hammered on the air.
If you're getting spiced, I might as well get you loose.
That's true. Okay, I've got my first wing. Chris, you want to pass me over a little tasting stick here? So can you tell me now first what it is that I am about to do?
Yeah, so this is the classic. So this is number one. Typically that's on the show Hot Ones. It's one of the sauces that they make, and one of our friends, Smokin' Ed Curry, makes. This is a garlic Fresno. So I've actually put together some of my favorite sauces. This is very easy. They call it a heat level 2. It's not going to be much hotter than Frank's, but a very flavorful sauce.
Not much hotter than Frank's, which is something, by the way. I know what that commercial says. I put that stuff on everything, but I don't, you see, because this is... Okay, so here we go with the heat level 2.
And this is going to be a real good litmus test here to see how you handle this one, because I can promise you we're going to ramp up pretty quickly after this.
Okay, see that now brings tears to my eyes. Just a little bit of water, but it burns going down the back of the throat.
Yeah, so this is a Fresno pepper. So when they talk about, the heat, a lot of people are familiar with the Scoville scale. A jalapeno would be anywhere from like 5,000 to 8,000 Scoville heat units. Fresno's not too much more than that. It's a very fruity pepper. When you pair it with the garlic, a little bit of apple cider vinegar in the sauce, it's just a great all-around wing sauce. But again, on the lower side. And the other things that I've done with this lineup, with the exception of 2 sauces, is try to give you as much flavor as we can as part of this process as well.
I will say, you can pick up the apple cider in that you mentioned. And Jay, as always, a consistently delicious chicken wing. I don't know how do you do it?
It's not me. It's our great staff. It's our chef Mark. It's our assistant kitchen manager Mark. It's Scotty. It's Shaz. It's Brad. It's Andrew. We're so lucky to have such great people that we work with all the time. It's Damon. Without those fellas in the back, we wouldn't be where we are. And we've been very lucky over many years to have really good people to work with. I want to shout out to them and say thank you to them.
I'm glad you did that, because it's a great team to see when we come in and visit, which we do frequently because Morty's, of course. Okay, Chris, I'll be honest. That one does catch me because I'm a wuss, but I could handle the 2. Like I would probably eat 2 or 3 if I was with a group and they ordered hot wings or hotter wings than I usually would eat myself. I would eat a couple of those so I didn't look like a wuss in front of my friends.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's the honest to goodness take on round one. There are 7 rounds to go. What do you have for me here in round 2?
So this, because it is just after the morning, this is our breakfast sauce. So this is one that we make. It's caramelized onions, roast garlic, sage, and nutritional yeast. So this is a fairly new sauce for us. We launched it with another morning show on the radio, Taz and Jim. But this one
My
is...
buddy Jim.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I love that guy.
This is a sauce we developed with them, and we designed it for breakfast. So many people eat hot sauce with breakfast. We made it for your breakfast. This has got some cayenne, some cayenne and jalapeno, and then just a little touch of ghost pepper powder on the back end.
Why?
Because that's what wakes you up in the morning, is that little kick on the back end that says, hey, it is morning, I am awake, and it's going to give you a little bit more of a bump than your coffee.
You notice how I only mentioned Jim, not Taz, right?
It's all good.
That's just for fun. I like Taz too, but Jim's a good buddy. Jay, fair coverage here? Yeah. Oh, Jay thinks, I think I overdid it too. I put way too much sauce on this one.
We're still in the shallow end, my friend.
Yeah, you said ghost pepper on the back end.
Well, that's the thing is a lot of people have gone to a party and someone pulled out a sauce called the bum burner or something like that, and they ate it and they swore they would never eat ghost pepper again. But, as a self-proclaimed pepper connoisseur or pepper nerd, once you get past the fact that the peppers themselves are blindingly hot, each one has a unique flavor profile. So you get a little bit of smokiness from the ghost, which kind of adds to the overall flavor profile also.
Why do they all... See, it starts off kind of flavorful, and then it kicks your butt. Like it's an afterburner.
Well, that means I've done my job right, because when we developed the company, our tagline is heat, flavor, and fun for your mouth, because if it's not hot, not full of flavor, and we're not having fun, we don't do it. And so our hallmark has been that, so I'm glad you're experiencing that.
Okay, I am experiencing that. The afterburner has kicked in. 2 down, 6 to go. And Orist is what should I pair best with this? Chris did say something about sugar, so maybe
actually the ginger beer and a root beers do very well. The root beer will have all the cinnamon bark and star anise that will help cut the fat and heat, and the ginger tempers the heat.
Which one should I go with, Chris? Ginger or root?
I'm going to say root beer for this one. Reason being is we have a ginger sauce that's coming up here in a second, so I think the ginger would be good.
Can you taste it? He's allowed to taste? No.
If sure, absolutely.
Yeah, this is not alcohol.
No, it's not. I know we're not going to drink any alcohol. Do you have other ginger for me?
I get you ginger.
Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, we're going to continue the Hot Ones Challenge, 570 News Radio style on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. I don't know if I'm breaking any rules here by having the time I get between wings. But as Chris, I'm going to ask you, Chris Ronan, founder Ginger Goat Hot Sauce, Jay Taylor, co-owner Morty's Pub, in studio with us, as is Orist Pollock, a sales rep with Nickelbrook Brewing, who's helping out with some pairings. Chris, I'll ask you to get the next wing ready for me as we go to the phones and say hello to Dallas. Dallas, good afternoon.
Yes, sir, my friend, number 30 here.
Farwell's Force member number. Good afternoon.
Listen, I only got one thing to say to you.
Okay.
If you get one spot of sauce on that jersey, I will come out to Kitchener and I will hunt you down and I will stand there with your dearly beloved and watch you wash it.
Okay, listen. Hey, wait, Dallas, where do you think you're coming to Kitchener from anyway? How far are you calling away from?
Cambridge.
Cambridge. I'm not afraid of you. You're not allowed to cross the border.
I beg to differ.
All right, buddy. I love to hear from you. Thank you. I love the city of Cambridge. I only tease it because I love it. Okay, are we okay on the pace here, Chris? Cause I have to take commercials. It's my job.
Hey, we're doing this on your time and your pace. I can promise you when we get into some of the hotter sauces, those commercials might do a little bit more detriment than anything.
What do you mean hotter? We're on number 3 now.
Yeah, we're on number 3. This goes to 10, baby. And we can turn it up to 11 if you want.
I'd rather not. So what do we have here for number 3?
So this is one that I haven't had, so I'm actually going to eat this with you. This comes from our friends from Baltimore, Maryland, Black Eyed Susan. So one of the other things I do is I throw a hot sauce festival called Goat Fest. Black Eyed Susan has been there since year 1. We're going into year 4. This one comes from the current season of Hot Ones that's airing right now. So it's a very new sauce, one that's kind of hard to get. But it's sumac, chickpea, and then it's got some smoke in there. So you're getting a little bit of the the roasted peppers and things like that. So we're still on a little bit of a flavor journey, but again, a chickpea-based sauce. And I'm going to eat this one with you.
All right. And Jay, did you try the breakfast sauce?
I did.
Pretty good?
It is good. It's really nice.
Yeah, for you people that can handle it. Okay, hot sauce guy, show me. Oh, you're just going to take the hot sauce straight?
Of course.
Of course you are. Okay.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. I was about to say I'm not afraid of chickpeas. Isn't that what? Oh my gosh, that smoke is smoky.
Yeah, it's got some smoked sea salt in there, some honey, but this also has ghost peppers. So this is
You
when
didn't
we're
tell me
starting
that
to ramp
first.
up. Well, of course not. I got to keep you guessing. You asked me to have some fun with you here, so I can't give away all the secrets.
What if I ask to have mercy? Could you have some mercy?
Yeah, I mean, I can skip a sauce or two.
Oh boy. Okay, my sinuses are starting to activate here. Okay, let's get number 4. Next up, if you like, I like a smoky whiskey. That would go. I don't know if it would go well with whiskey. Orest, what's a good pairing for a smoky hot sauce?
Well, I'd probably go for actually beer first, but but if I was my LCBO days,
Afterburner.
I would go with a peated whiskey, something from the Islay, something
Absolutely.
smoky, and with a bit of heat, and that will sort of offset the smoke and the heat as well. It sort of counterbalances it out.
Okay, Chris, what do we have here on sauce number 4?
Well, now we're going to the throwbacks. So we mentioned in 2001 when we were lucky enough to be on the show with our first sauce that we ever made. This is this sauce here. So it's a smoked pineapple ginger and Carolina Reaper sauce.
Carolina Reaper. I love the names. Carolina Reaper.
Well, the Carolina Reaper, Mike, was the world's hottest pepper for a number of years. We get our peppers from South Carolina, from Smokin' Ed, the guy who invented the world's hottest. The Scoville scale, when I talked about the jalapeno being 5,000 to 8,000, the pepper itself is about 1.2 million on this one.
Lovely.
And we use it sparingly. But you're going to get that afterburn.
I put the whole chip on.
Yeah. Like you're supposed to.
Can I give that a smell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you
give
can
it a
try
smell.
it as well, my friend.
I'm not tasting it. No way.
Why not, Orest? Why won't you taste it?
I got to work tomorrow.
And this ginger beer actually would go very, very good with that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when we talk about heat and things like
Can I
that,
have a little taste?
This was the one that got you on Hot Ones?
this is the one
I
that
know
got us
why.
on Hot Ones.
Holy moly. Okay. If I drink this fast, is it going to help?
It will. I tell people handling heat is like drinking alcohol. The first time you ever had a couple of drinks, you might have felt a little bit wobbly, but the longer that you drink, you kind of get used to it. Not that those feelings go away, you just get used to the flavors. So when I eat hot sauce, I feel the exact same way that you do. I just know how to handle it. And so when it comes to remedies and stuff, time is your best friend.
You know what? This is a perfect time, and I'm not making it up. We have to get you an update from the 570 News Center. I'm going to have some yogurt, too. Is that okay?
You're probably going to need it.
Your sauce, number 4. Tell me what it was called again.
So we were number 5 on the show. It was a smoked pineapple ginger and Carolina Reaper sauce that we call the original goat.
It's something. If you like hot sauce, do that one. Mitch, hang in there. We'll get to your call after this update from the 570 News Center. 4 down, 4 wings to go. It's the Hot Ones Challenge, 570 News Radio style, and Rogers TV. In studio with Jay Taylor, co-owner Morty's Pub. Chris Ronan, my former friend. I really like this guy. I do. But gosh, he's not being... Founder of Ginger Goat Hot Sauces. I love the story. I really do love the guy. But it's been tough in here today. Orest Pollock is with us, sales rep with Nickelbrook Brewing. Jay, when people order the Soupy's sauce, the hottest wing you have at Morty's, what do you provide them by way of safety valve? Like what?
A firm handshake, a pat on the back, and this isn't our fault. You agreed to eat this.
Do they have to sign a waiver first?
No,
Okay.
we don't get them to do that. But the people that do order, they sure know what they're getting into, and they are true fans and hot sauce aficionados.
I mean, I can say, I think we were talking during the break there, is I'm a man whose body has been built by Morty's chicken wings and soupy sauce and a good IPA. So this is my happy place right now.
Yuta, thank you for the email to Mike at 570news.com. Just don't rub your eyes. I promise not to. My glasses are still on. They'll probably have to come off as the sweat continues. Mitch is with us on the phone. Good afternoon, Mitch.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike, and congratulations on reaching your goal. Thank you for your contribution to the community.
It's our pleasure to work as hard as we can for cystic fibrosis research.
I guess this is more of a question for Chris. I am embarrassed to admit that I did not know that Ginger Goat is a local Kitchener company, and I was enjoying some on some leftover pizza as I was watching the show. So just hoping Chris could tell us where in our community can we find your sauce?
Great question.
Great question, and thank you. Your royalty is going to be in the mail here for asking that. Thank you very much. Locally, we're lucky enough to be partnered with a lot of different organizations. So you can find us at Vincenzo's, you can find us at Central Fresh Market, Coddles Catch, Longo's, Loblaws, Block 3 Brewing, Sparrow Brewing in Cambridge. So it's places that we like to shop and hang out that have been great supporters and early adopters for ours. You can get our sauces there. And if you do live within Waterloo region in Cambridge, you can order from our website. We do free local delivery.
What is the website again?
gingergoat.ca.
Easy one to remember. Mitch, you're a good man. Thanks for supporting local, even when you didn't know you were supporting local. So just to bring you up to speed, we're 4 of the 8 wings into this, and the time has not been my friend, Chris. During that news update with Matt, I was like, it's the heat is washing like into me now. I thought it would be a nice break. I took advantage of the sour cream that Jay brought so I could use some of the wings that didn't get the hot sauce on and use some sour cream to cool down. But I've got like feelings all the way down now into the back of my throat and into my belly, and the top of my head is starting to get tingly. Mm-hmm. This is where I'm at. How long is this going to stay with me? What am I up against here?
I mean, we're at 12:37, so I would say by 2 o'clock you'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Let's get on to sauce number 5, which you have poured and I have in front of me, and I'll add to the wing now. What am I about to ingest?
This is a special one that I brought in just for you, and one that not many people know that we make. So knowing that you are such a big fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, we brought in the official hot sauce of the Ottawa Senators.
Okay. Do I need to pass? Can I pass on this?
Nope.
Should I get my jersey?
No.
Come on. I brought it.
I'm wearing the other jersey, you know.
So we have a robust white label program that we actually make some sauces behind the scenes from some organizations. We've been lucky enough to work with the CFL and now the NHL with the Ottawa Senators. And we don't advertise that we make this sauce, but this is a peach and mango sauce with some Caribbean spices that happens to have a special blend of peppers that I get from my friend Ed that are all peach varieties. So instead of being red, they're peach colored, nice, light, fruity, and very hot.
That's harder than a Kachuk brother at the Four Nations Cup. You know what I'm saying? Jiminy Christmas. I can taste the peach, though, just like the pineapple on your Ginger Goat original. Oh, my. Okay.
And he's going back for more, so that's a good sign.
No, that was the back end of this is a drumstick, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Sauce.
So I had the saucy side, and I tried to, I'm just going to dip my finger in.
You're going into survival mode here.
I could put my finger into the sour cream.
He's turning feral on the other side of the table.
It's not good. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I just want to remind you that you did ask me for this, and as much as I'm smiling and laughing at you, it's very much in solidarity.
I'm going to just say again, like I've always liked you, but today not so much.
I'm going to be apologizing profusely here in a couple minutes.
I'm reaching for number 6. I'm applying number 6 liberally onto this wing.
Yeah, so this is another sauce that we had on Hot Ones. It's called Tropic Star. It's mango, lemongrass, and star anise. So if anyone saw NSYNC, Cardi B, Doja Cat, Steve-O from the show Jackass, they were all eating this sauce here.
Hey, Steve-O, I'm one up on you, pal. I am the Jackass today.
Whoa.
Ayo. So this is, what's in this one?
So mango, lemongrass, and star anise. And I think Oris brought in some root beer.
See how I'm not even listening? Okay.
He brought in some root beer here, which I think will pair nicely with this because of the star anise and some of those rich flavors as well. But our sauces are really I would say, kind of a worldview as to what my wife and I are cooking, where we're looking at in terms of flavor profiles. And this is Tropic Star.
Orist, why does that's immediate. Why is the root beer so good with this?
Well, the root beer is a rich, earthy flavor where they get their stuff from it with this cinnamon bark, star anise, licorice root, the burdock root, and I think the vanilla helps to sweeten up the root beer. It's a sweet and spicy combination that is great against spicy food. And actually, root beer is great in making your own sauce that has all these flavors in it, from brown sugar, a pinch of cayenne, chipotle, caramelizes nicely, but there's a nice, refreshing, cleansing sensation of all these natural barks.
That one was not
against
nice.
the root beer.
I mean, I'm sure it's good for hot sauce people. I feel that one through my whole mouth, my whole entire now. Yeah,
the root beer will just temper it nicely.
For sure. And we were talking about it as well, is peppers, each one has the ability to play differently in your mouth. So like a habanero or a scorpion pepper will really attack the front of your mouth. Ghost peppers, kind of an overall mouth heat. And then Carolina Reaper, we joke, you might as well call it the Carolina Creeper because it's very back of throat heat. I probably should have told you that we use 3 of those peppers in this sauce to give you a full mouth coat effect.
The one that you just gave me?
The one that I just gave you.
100%. There's no, that is, I'll tell you this much. You deliver as advertised. That is a full mouth effect for sure. I'll go back to the phones here and let Rob save me while I eat more sour cream with my fingers. Hi, Rob.
Buddy, if you're expecting me to save you, you're in a bad position.
You know what? This is the problem with the new guy on the other side. He just put Rob on the phone. He didn't tell me it was Robbie English, my favorite troll. What's going on, buddy?
I only said Rob. I'll make it quick because I'm sure there's people that are calling in. I think I'm not I grew up eating curry. I'm English. It's our national dish. My dad served in the armed forces out in the East, and so I've grown up eating it. But this wing sauce stuff is absolutely ridiculous. It's like eating a fowl, which is the hottest curry. Everyone thinks, oh, Tindaloo, Vindaloo, but no, it's not. It's one called a fowl. But I think you all need help. It needs therapy. My buddy Frank, my hockey buddy and music buddy, he's got his own fridge full of just hot sauces. I don't get it. But I'm going to plant this seed with the guys that make it locally. Here's 2 ones you can come up with. Mike's words a moment ago. We're going to go with the Farwell. That's going to be a good local sauce. But I think we should do a Canadian maple bacon-based one, and we should call it Ranger Danger, straight out of Kitchener. You have fun.
Thanks, Rob. It's good to hear from you in the off season.
Don't threaten me with a good time, fella. We're always cooking up some different stuff.
Where do you come up with the ideas and obviously these are recipes, these are creations. Where's the inspiration?
Yeah, so we're hot sauce fans, and it's a very slippery slope because, like the last caller's friend there, is we started collecting hot sauce, and my wife and I, even when we started dating, would go to food events and drink beer and eat hot sauce, and always had this idea of starting a company just because we loved making it, and we were so passionate about it, and we loved eating it. So it went from having a shelf in the fridge full to having a beer fridge in the garage that no longer had beer in it and was full of hot sauce, to starting a hot sauce company and now having way more than I care to admit.
Way more hot sauce. I was just dipping in sour cream again. Forgive me. I'm trying to stem the tide of the heat. I don't even know, what is all of this stuff it's just all that last one.
That's capsaicin, the oil that it's the plant's defense mechanism. So it doesn't want mammals to eat it. It's concentrated within the pith of the pepper. So to dismiss a myth, it's not in the seeds. So if you ever cut open a red or green pepper, the white part is called the pith. That's where the highest concentrations of oil are. It's right next to the seeds, but that chemical compound that you're feeling is the plant's defense mechanism. Birds don't feel it, actually.
My defense mechanism.
Well, I mean, sour cream is good, but sugar and acid, because it's an oil, sugar helps with a little bit of a mouth coat and the sweet, and then the acid will help break down the oil molecules. But there is no real magic pill, so to speak, to make this go away other than sheer time.
2 o'clock, he said. I'm going to text him at 2:01 and let him know how I'm feeling. Orest, you brought some ginger beer, root beer.
Yes, sir.
Non-alcoholic fun beverages from Nickelbrook. You've got some non-alcoholic beers there as well, because I told you, as much as I love my Nickelbrook. Do you have any easy drinking lager for me for afterwards?
Well, outside.
Yeah,
I
good,
do.
man. I
And
knew you
also-
would.
I also have a wheat beer. The wheat beer is also
Soccer
good.
Mom?
Oh, Soccer Mom is a great wheat beer that tempers the heat and coats your tongue. But with these other flavored ones with the fruit in it, our sour raspberry vanilla hibiscus sour works well to cut the heat dramatically because it has a lot of acid in it, a lot of tartaric acid in it, and it's a refreshing counterpoint to the fiery capsaicin and fat of the chicken.
Interesting.
So this with your fruity hot seasonings will be a great pairing.
That's
but not
alcoholic,
today.
though. Well, can
Yes.
I do it? But I have to take it home after the show and chug it.
Well, we can chug the. We have a non-alcoholic ale and an IPA as well.
I just tried your Wicked Tame.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Non-alcoholic. It is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oris Pollock is here from Nickelbrook Brewing. Chris Ronan, founder of Ginger Goat Hot Sauces. Jay Taylor, co-owner of Morty's Pub, and the only friend I've got in the room. Brought the wings, brought the sour cream, brought the Morty's Pub baseball jersey. We're going to take a break. You are, Oris. You brought... Chris, you're the only one here that's not a friend. I am really feeling it. Okay, I got 2 to go, and you said it's only getting better from here for you.
Yeah, and for the listeners, because the next 2 sauces are no joke at all. They're the most notorious ones. We've got the bomb here in front of us, and we also have the last dab, which has 3 ingredients: peppers, pepper powder, pepper distillate.
Okay, we're going to get ready for the final run here and the last dab as we continue on. What did Robbie just call me? The Farwell, the
Farwell
jackass,
Farwell.
whatever. It's the Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Okay, we are into the home stretch, and Chris Ronan, founder of Ginger Goat Hot Sauces, has given me a little heads up as to what I'm in for in the final 2 wings. I will tell you at this point that I actually feel a heat radiating, certainly off my face. It's coming off my cheeks. I kind of feel it down in the pit of my belly, and I'm a little bit lightheaded. And you said something about getting high earlier. I don't know if that's...
You can from capsaicin. It's almost like a runner's high where you can get that endorphin dump, and that's your body saying like, hey, there's something going on here. And we've actually had multiple people kind of experience it. I've experienced it myself, and it's from a sauce like this, Mike. And so, we've been having some fun here, and I really do appreciate you having me in. And yes, we are friends and have been for a number of years. And so I feel that I need to say I'm very sorry for what I'm about to do to you. Because
you did warn me about this.
Yeah, so anyone who watches Hot Ones knows there's been one sauce consistently in the lineup since pretty much season 1 because of its infamy, and it's called the Bomb. It's number 8 in the lineup. It's the one that, sends most celebrities running for the hills, and this is the sauce that we're about to do. But because you're special, I decided to bring in the new number 8, the one without oleo resin, the one that's all natural and is a straight concoction of some of the world's hottest peppers, and that my friend Smokin' Ed made for this season of Hot Ones. So you're going to be one of the first people to be eating this sauce, and it's I'm going to eat it with you, but it's no joke.
Okay, you're a good man for stepping up, although you tend to like this. Jay Taylor, Morty's Pub. How am I doing compared to people that do a soupy sauce when they come into Morty's and order your hottest wings?
I think you're hanging in there. You're doing a great job, and I think more importantly, we're so happy to be here and be part of this, that you achieved your goal. You raised so much money in this community, and we're all admirers of you, and we look up to you, and
look up.
Are blown away by what you do for our community. So thank you for that, Mike. And sorry your payback is this.
Oh. Jay, real quick. You're connected guy. Oh my heavens. Am I getting any support from the studio audience, Jay?
This is the gift that keeps on giving, Mike.
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
You are doing a great job. And you know what? You're eating a fresh wing, which is our wings are nice and fresh. And they go great with that sauce. Don't you think? Don't you think, Chris?
Oh, the soupy sauce and the wings from Morty's are fantastic.
And your sauce, too. Your sauce is wonderful.
You ate that, too?
100%.
He just slurped it back.
I can't. I got to get some sour cream here.
No, do it. I mean, To be quite honest, I got a little bit of a hiccup going as well.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I tried the sauce before it was released, and I knew immediately that I don't like eating this.
That was only number 8?
That was number 8 in the lineup.
Oh, my God.
You got one more?
We got one more to go.
Oh, no. Come on.
Or it might be topping out. But there is one more sauce.
Come on.
Oh.
Do it.
But yeah, this...
that hurts all the way.
That
hurts all the way.
It's straight peppers and straight pain, my friend.
Can I smell it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, make them taste it.
No.
I mean, I do have the bottle here if anyone else does want to try it.
Oh, my gosh.
No, I'm not going to.
How does it get...
I'm good now. The hiccups are gone.
Oris, do you have any more you can pour in here legally today?
Sir. Just anything, please.
Yeah, get you one of these.
Oh, my gosh.
From my perspective here, you're doing a great job.
No, 100%, my friend. 100%.
More yogurt.
Like, we've seen other people that you've done it at Morty's.
100%.
And we don't get... what would you say the percentage of people actually get to this stage?
I mean, it depends, right? So we've had people tap out on wing number 3. And as I like to say, there's no shame in tapping out. I'll just make fun of them after they leave. But a lot of people are troopers. They'll go through against their better judgment a lot of times. But yeah, I mean, anyone who thinks that the show and hot sauces are a bit of a myth and, you know, they're not quoting anything and anything like that, they're wrong. This is some serious hot sauce, and you know, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Okay, I won't, because we got 2 minutes left, and there's nothing that could be worse. Is there something worse? That was unbelievable. I can't even. That hurts. That, honest to goodness, I suppose people like that. A good thing that hurts like HE double hockey sticks. I'm gonna put up my last one because I'm not gonna wimp out now.
Do it.
And Chris, as we wind down, tell me about Goat Fest, and you got another, and what I'm about to take down is the last one. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you know, be as liberal as you want with that, but this last sauce is the world's hottest pepper. It is Pepper X, so 2.4 million Scoville heat units, 4 ingredients in the sauce: vinegar, Pepper X, Pepper X powder, and Pepper X distillate. This is the last one on the show. And is one that will be available at Goat Fest. So all these sauces that are here in front of us will be at Goat Fest October 3rd. It is coming back, so we're just finalizing our headlining act. But 30 hot sauce companies, 15 breweries, Caesar Bar, Oyster Bar, bands, and food trucks, all going down October 3rd at the Concordia Club here in Kitchener. Tickets will be going on sale soon at goatfest.ca or gingergoat.ca. But yeah, this is the world's hottest pepper. 91% Pepper X in this sauce, my friend.
Do I have enough sauce on this, Jay?
I think you sure do.
Okay,
You
enough
sure
sauce.
do.
Cheers to you.
Am I going to blister? Because my mouth feels like it's blistering. No, he says?
It's a misnomer. It's just your body telling you that it's burning. It doesn't actually burn you. You might get a little bit of an upset tummy later, but otherwise there's no real ill effects per se.
Oh my gosh.
And every sauce is 100% natural too. There's no junk in there at all.
It's delicious if you like it, but 8 and 9. I'm glad we started at 1. Jay Taylor, Maurice Bob, Chris Ronan, Ginger Goat Hot Sauce, Oris Pollock, Nickelbrook Brewing. You have some easy drinking for me to take home.
Easy drinking, yes. And we also have a new beer coming out shortly, a cold-blooded hazy IPA. Look for it at the LCBO.
Thank you all for being a part of this. And thank you for raising money for cystic fibrosis research. I will come back tomorrow, God willing. Bye for now.